Hello everyone, welcome back to round number 4 of the Forest Edge Kart Club in 2024. You join us once again for the Southern Championships here down on the south coast of the UK. Still an absolutely lovely day for some racing here at Forest Edge, and that's going to continue throughout this afternoon. Sorry once again about having to start another new stream. So we're going to be split into at least 4 parts for today, so again apologies, so many internet issues. It worked for a little bit over lunch, and then as soon as I came back to double check it, it decided to turn itself off. So we're on to a new stream for this afternoon's racing, but I'm going to hope that we can cram all of the heats and the finals into this stream before something goes wrong. Now I know I've probably just commentators cursed that, but we'll wait and see. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, first race of the afternoon, first race post lunch break, is going to be our Honda Cadets. Their heat number 3 is about to get underway. They're good for this one. Arthur Way and Oliver Ratton on the front row. Alfie Allen and Alex Gaskin are there on row 2. Seth Jones and Tyler Banks on row 3. James Devereaux and Stanley Keeley are on row 4, with Kobe Wood and Oliver Spence on row number 5. Daniel Barton and Alex Roach are on row 6, with Max Craven, Connor Yu and Henry Duncan rounding out the 15 kart grid for this race. Now, we've seen some good racing in the Hondas, not only during today, but throughout the entire year. Now, don't forget, all of these grids for these races are randomly generated prior to the day. Arthur Way has been, well, is leading the championship, has been perfect since round number 2. Won all the races at round 2, won all the races at round 3, has won both races so far today. He starts pole position for this one, and he gets us underway in racing for 7 minutes plus 1 lap here for heat number 3 in Honda Cadet. 2 drivers already coming together. The 21 nearly spinning there at the back of the pack. That was Kobe Wood getting shuffled onto the grass early on, and immediately Kobe dropping to the back of the pack, sadly for him, so he's got it all to do in the rest of this 7 minutes. But immediately from the start, Arthur Way pressing on nicely at the front of the field. It's Oliver Ratton who sits in behind him as they head through the bus stop chicane now. Still driver's line astern, bit of a mistake from P4 there. Is that potentially Alex Gaskin? Driver behind sends it down the inside and takes away 4th place for themselves. So a little bit of a mistake just off of the exit of the bus stop. Sees the number 11, it was dive through, which was Seth Jones. And it was the 23 of Alex Gaskin that got shuffled back, who made that little mistake. Move by the number 90 down the inside. Late move to the inside there for Oliver Spence. Couldn't quite get it done that time on James Devereaux. And Oliver has to sit behind once more there in 9th place. It was Stanley Keeley who had the fastest lap of the race on that first lap. Impressive from Stanley in 7th place. He'll be hoping to keep that pace and continue pressuring through the rest of the race. Bit of bumping and barging there for 4th place. Seth Jones just getting whacked by, I believe it's still Alex Gaskin in behind into the bus stop chicane, under pressure once again. But no opportunity for a move there. Good bit of defending there from the 39. That's Tyler Banks, is it, who's moved up to 4th place? It is. So Tyler Banks has got through into 4th. It was Gaskin who was bumping and barging through the bus stop and continues to do so through the Haynes Loop. Both of those drivers now onto the back of the 22 of Oliver Ratton, who was overtaken a lap or 2 ago by Alfie Allen for 2nd place. So Alfie Allen currently the closest challenger to Arthur Way, but still on that last lap was about 0.3 of a second off of Arthur Way's pace. As super close through the bus stop between a couple of drivers there. Side by side, that was for 5th place. So that's Alex Gaskin and Stanley Keeley, I think, getting a little bit too close to comfort, and that's just dropped them ever so slightly off of the top 4 as they head through on to the end of lap number 2. What's the gap now pulled up by Arthur Way? 1.3 seconds now, that gap, as he's the first driver into the 48s. Oliver Ratton and Alex Gaskin join him, though, into the 48 seconds. The problem is that those two are battling themselves as the 23 tries to find a way past the 22 there down at Johnny's, but can't quite force the door open. Through the bus stop chicane they go once again. It's definitely changed up near the front because Well, Ratton and Gaskin are still close, but they're dropping off of Alfie Allen. Alfie's getting a little bit left in no man's land here in second place, as he is still dropping off of Arthur Way, but starting ever so slightly to pull away from Oliver Ratton and Alex Gaskin, just because they still continue to battle. Check over the shoulder from Alex Gaskin as they head on to a new lap of the race. They have both now caught Alfie Allen, though, so Alfie's lost a bit of pace with the last part of that last lap. Checks over the shoulder, does Alfie Allen, heading down into Winger's Dip. Ratton and Gaskin all over the rear axle of Allen, but can either of them find a way through? No, they're going to keep battling by themselves. So no, they're both going to go through. Sorry, both of them through before we get to bus stop chicane. Might be a change to second as well. So is that Gaskin now down the inside of Oliver Ratton? They both relegated Alfie Allen to fourth, but Allen's fighting back down the inside, retakes third place away from the 22 of Ratton. So Alex Gaskin now finds himself in second place. Alfie Allen has been relegated to third and Ratton relegated to fourth. And that bit of battling between those three has pretty much allowed the entire field to find them once again. The 41 of Stanley Kearley has led that charge from fifth place. And now we've got second place pretty much down to sort of 9th or 10th, all in a train here. Still only 5 seconds separating the top 10. And basically 3 seconds of that is simply between Arthur Way in first and Alex Gaskin now in second place. Close for third still. Oliver Ratton all over the back of Alfie Allen. Very close heading down into Climber. Will we see the switch over to the inside from Ratton? Not this time. In behind though, the 11's making a move, forcing the 58 out wide, and Daniel Barton not too happy with Seth Jones's move there. I thought it was a pretty good move at the last corner. Maybe a little bit of leading happening from Seth Jones, and maybe that's what Daniel Barton wasn't so happy with. But even though Seth Jones made that move, he's taken the fastest lap of the race in the last lap. 200ths quicker than Arthur Way on that last lap, despite Seth Jones making a move. So impressive stuff, but he's a lot further down the pack, though, than Arthur Way. So Seth, although he's looking very quick, has got a lot to do to try and fight through these front runners. Alex Gaskin doing a good job now. Since he's taken that second place, he's commandeered it very well. And is commanding second place. Is in behind. Again, Seth Jones thinking about a move at the last corner. Didn't quite get enough alongside that time to make it work. And now the driver here overtook only a lap ago. Daniel Barton trying to see if he can fight back. Big wobble there through the first corner from Kobe Wood as he's trying to fight back through on Max Craven after that first corner incident on the first lap. But Kobe a bit opportunistic with that move. A little bit too much. Got it sliding on the inside curb. Just about holds onto it. But I think again loses the time that he'd gained back over the rest of this race. Third, fourth and fifth all line astern now as Ratton can't get past Allen. Ratton now under pressure down the inside. Goes Stanley Kearley. But up and under, that is, side by side down towards Climber. Is he going to be able to grab the inside? No, he's not. So Ratton does lose the place. Stanley Kearley up into fourth. And in behind, I think Seth Jones has got there on Tyler Banks as well. Yes, he has. So Seth Jones is now going to be the one pressuring Ratton down the inside once again for Stanley Kearley. This time on Alfie Allen. Good move there through the first couple of corners for the number 41. And Stanley Kearley finds himself up in the top three. Less than 10 seconds left to go on the timer, which will mean that when Arthur Way comes through and under the gantry once again, he's going to see the last lap board. And once again, it's going to be a perfect day so far for Arthur Way. Still going at it from third place downwards. How many have we got on this train now? 4, 5, 6 carts all in a line here, battling for this final podium spot. Still being held by Stanley Kearley, though, as Arthur Way leads us on to the final lap of the race. Late move down the inside there from Seth Jones, and he takes it away from the 41. Trying to follow through there. That was close between Daniel Barton and Stanley Kearley. Stanley Kearley clipping the apex curb on the inside of the corner there, which fires him out towards the driver on the outside and makes more contact. Off on the grass goes the 41 of the last lap of the race. Up and over the bumps he goes. Rejoins the circuit, does Stanley Kearley. That's going to drop him right to the right to the back of that battle, though. And also, I did see bits flying off of his cart, so potentially a chain guard or something gone there for Stanley Kearley. But through the final section comes Arthur Way then. Still, no one can touch Arthur Way. And he's going to come through to win yet another race here in Honda Cadet. Number 47 is on top once more. He'll be starting on pole position later on in the final. Great race from the 23 of Alex Gaskin. Seth Jones takes third then. How does it all shuffle in behind? Daniel Barton takes fourth. Alfie Allen in fifth place. Oliver Spence in sixth. Great run in the last few laps from Oliver Spence. And Oliver Ratton dropping to seventh place, sadly, for Oliver. Tyler Banks finishes in eighth with James Devereaux and Connor Yu, your top 10. Well on to Connor on being the top place novice in that race. Stanley Kearley managed to rejoin, finishes 11th place. Oh, what could have been for Stanley Kearley. He was in third place for the last 2 or 3 laps. And just a bit of a kerfuffle there. I think he got tapped on the inside heading through Johnny's. So someone potentially getting a penalty for that one, but I won't comment. You had to head to results.alphatiming.co.uk/FEKC to get the full results post-race there. Alex Roach was in behind in 12th with Max Craven, Henry Duncan and Kobe Wood. Your 15 finishes then in our Honda Cadets. Now all the heats then are done and dusted for Honda Cadets. Heading out on circuit though at the moment. Who have we got up next? Rotax Cadets head out for their heat number 3. So let's take you through the grid then. Matthew Lilly and Max Tomsit line up on the front row with Kieran Ranger and Ellis Honey on row number 2. Oakley Riggs and Elijah West are there on row 3 with Rio Peacock and Ethan Coupland on row 4. Freya Bond and Pierce Taylor on row 5 with Toby Biggs and Dewey Hockridge on row 6. Edison Burrows and Jack Blackman are on row 7 as, oh dear, we've got a spin already outside the window. Number 19 going for a little spin there. That's Arthur Kaiser there. He's starting 15th place. Where do we get to? Freya Bond and Pierce Taylor, row 5. Toby Biggs and Dewey Hockridge, row 6. Edison Burrows and Jack Blackman, row 7. Arthur Kaiser and Mason Munzer on row 8 with Ronnie Fortner, Travis Giddings and Oscar Richards. 19 drivers on the grid for this one. And let's just see if I can get up the results for Heat 1 and Heat number 2. So Heat 1 was won by Warwick Milam. I'm looking at the Inters. I was going to say, I was like, Warwick isn't in the Cadets. That's silly from me. Right, we'll try and get it up just as they're coming around to start the race then. And we'll talk you through the action and talk you through how everyone else has done for the rest of the day. Right, it's Matthew Lilly and Max Tomsit who lead us to the start line. We're underway and racing. Good start already from Max Tomsit. I think he might have already snatched the lead away at the first corner here from Matthew Lilly. Through they come into Johnny's. Couple of drivers duking it out. Side by side into Johnny's is it's always a sketchy one, but they all managed to make it through. But it was actually Matthew Lilly who got the good start there from the pole position. Held it round the outside into turn 1 and then into the Haynes loop. Harry pressing on, still holds on to the lead of the race as they head now up into the bus stop chicane. Side by side for third place though, that's Elijah West making his way through already. 6th on the grid. Finds himself in P3 as we close in towards the end of lap number 1. Who's that in behind? The 82 of Kieran Ranger it is from 3rd to 4th on that first lap. Then comes the 43 and the 30. Ethan Coupland, Ellis Honey. Then Freya Bond, Toby Biggs, Jack Blackman and Rio Peacock, your top 10 for the moment. Leaders fly through Johnny's once again then. 43 applying the pressure. That's Ethan Coupland trying to get through on Kieran Ranger. I think he's gone for it. Down the inside into Winger's Dip. Bold place to go for a move for Ethan, but I think he might have got it done. Is that a change at the front already? Elijah West down the inside of the bus stop chicane. Is that? No, it's not Elijah. Is that Oakley Riggs who's managed to squeeze through? Elijah West still there in 3rd place at the moment. But all is kicking off in the lead. They're trying to go side by side round climber. Elijah West dives down the inside for 2nd place. It's still Matthew Lilly in the lead of the race, but it was Oakley Riggs who was pressuring hard there through the second half of that lap, nearly getting the move done on Matthew Lilly. Matthew Lilly defending well, and Elijah West seizing that opportunity as Oakley Riggs had to slow ever so slightly after the failed overtake on Matthew Lilly. Elijah West grabbed that opportunity with 2 hands, forces his way up into 2nd place. But it's Ethan Coupland behind in 4th place who's set the fastest lap so far in this one. Elijah West takes the lead though, I can see out the window. Up through sector 3 they come. The number 30 looks to be out of this race though. Ellis Honey has pulled over to the side of the track. all fine, is making it to a safe place, but sadly, Ellis Honey already out of this race then. It'll be Elijah West who leads us onto lap 3 then of Heat 3. He's under quite a substantial amount of pressure though. Matthew Lilley, Oakley Ridge and Ethan Coupland all in that train behind. But now it's 5th place Jack Blackman, who now takes the fastest lap of the race. 48.19, 200ths quicker than Elijah West on that last lap. So let's see if Jack can close down the gap to the rest of these drivers at the front. The problem is, you can see visually that Elijah West is just starting to pull up that gap a little bit further every single lap. And now Matthew Lilley is under pressure for 2nd place. He's having to fend off Oakley Riggs. Ethan Coupland's trying to get involved as well. So I have a slight inkling that these three might start to hold each other up a bit. And that's perfect for your current leader of Elijah West. There's the move down the inside, was it? No, Matthew Lilley holds onto it just about, but Oakley Riggs is super close. On the last lap, there was only 100th of a second between the fastest lap of Lilley and the fastest lap of Riggs. I can see out my window now Ellis Honey taking refuge under some trees, which is probably a good place to be fair. I'm in shorts and I'm pretty warm today, so I can't imagine what it's like in a full suit and helmet. So taking a break under the trees for Matthew Lilley, I think is pretty understandable. Back to the race though, Elijah West has a huge gap now in the lead of the race. Was the fastest lap of the race last time. And in behind, Matthew Lilley is starting to defend this 2nd place now. Big slide out the final corner for Oakley Riggs. Impressive kart control from Oakley to hold on to that one. Side by side in behind. That was Toby Biggs and Freya Bond going side by side. And I think that's gone the way of Freya Bond there into the first corner. Just check as they come through. Yep, through Johnny's. It's the 24 ahead of the 46 now. So Freya Bond takes 7th place. The top 3 still as they were. A little bit of momentum shift there for Oakley Riggs. He's managed to sort of acclimatise back to that again. He's all over the back of Matthew Lilley once again, but he just can't seem to find a way through. And Oakley has got 2 contact warnings in the last 2 minutes, so he does need to be a little bit careful. Oh, I tell a lie, that's just been taken off now. He's got 1 in the last minute and 1 in the last 5 minutes, so still 2 on the board. Just a repeat showing that other one. Now it looked as though the 29 of Jack Blackman might cruise up to the back of 2nd, 3rd and 4th, who were still battling, but hasn't been able to hold that same pace he had earlier on in this race. Now has settled around quite a similar pace to the drivers ahead, so that just sort of keeps him in that no man's land between the battling pack of 3. Speaking of, move down the inside for 3rd place. No, chops back across, and it's been a change ahead actually. Oakley Riggs is in 2nd place, and we're now looking at Matthew Lilley fending off from Ethan Coupland, this is. So Oakley Riggs into 2nd place. As you can see as they come through your camera shot then, it's the number 20 of Matthew Lilley, who's now fending off from the 43 of Coupland. It's time for 3rd place. We've seen some good defending from Matthew Lilley early on in this race. He's going to have to continue that for the foreseeable future. So yeah, goes defensive down into Winger's Dip. Is allowing for Oakley Riggs to break away now, but Oakley is still about 2 seconds off of Elijah West as they head through into the final minute of this race. Let's have a look then. Oakley Riggs and Elijah West were 1-2 in the first race. Okay, so we're seeing the similar challenges at the front of the order then. Heat 1 was Oakley Riggs, I still can't pronounce his name, sorry Oakley. Oakley Riggs, Elijah West and Matthew Lilley, the top 3 with Ethan Coupland in 4th. Heat 2 was Elijah West win, Matthew Lilley 2nd, Dewey Hockridge 3rd, Ethan Coupland 4th. And now we're heading into Heat 3. Well, we're nearly done and dusted with Heat 3. And it's looking to be Elijah West ahead of Oakley Riggs, Matthew Lilley, Ethan Coupland, Dewey Hockridge in 6th. There's all similar guys up near the sharp end of the order. But it looks as though it's going to be a win and 2 seconds for Oakley and 2 wins and a second for Elijah that will put him at the sharp end of the grid for the final later on. Right, timer hits 0 then in the Rotax Cadet Heat 3. Elijah West scything around the last couple of corners. Absolutely on a knife edge of grip, but he is flying out there and he leads us on to this last lap. Still battling furiously are Matthew Lilley and Ethan Coupland. Big defensive move into Haynes Loop from Matthew Lilley. He's not giving up this third place lightly. I think he's already checked out from second. He realises he's not going to be able to fight back here with Oakley Riggs. But this third, Matthew Lilley wants to hold on to it. And he's doing it with all of his might through this last lap of this Forest Edge kart circuit. But he's lost it. I've just looked out the window and he's lost it into the boot. Down to fourth goes Matthew Lilley. He's close, but not quite close enough to send one back down the inside. At the top of the section of the circuit, here comes your leader and your winner of heat number 3. Elijah West takes yet another win here at Forest Edge. Oakley Riggs, good showing there for second place. And a great overtake on the last lap from Ethan Coupland sees him get that top 3 finish. Matthew Lilley has to settle for 4th this time around, sadly for him. Jack Blackman, good race for him though there in 5th place. Impressive stuff and some really good pace early on as well, I must say, for Jack. Dewey Hockridge there in 6th place, with Freya Bond in 7th place. Travis Giddings, your top rated novice there in 8th, with Toby Biggs and Rio Peacock, your top 10. Ronnie Faulkner was in 11th with Piers Taylor, Mason Munzer, Edison Burrows, Arthur Kaiser, Kieran Ranger and Oscar Richards. And then Max Tomsit was the last of your finishes there because, of course, we lost Ellis Honey at the final corner earlier on in that race. Hopefully we'll see Ellis back out in the final, but sadly that DNF is not going to help him for the grid for the final later on this afternoon. Rotax Cadet Heat 3 done then. We'll be swiftly moving on to the last heat for Junior Max, and this is all important as well because some Junior Max drivers won't make it into the main final. They'll get sent to the B final to duke it out for the final spots. But it's their last heat of the day, and it's coming up next. Juniors out on circuit then. Let's have a look at the grid for their last heat of the day. Travis Rose and Levi Sangera are on the front row with Matthew Grove and Sam Mott on the second row. Then Spencer Trahorn, Harvey Murden, Charlie Hume, Charles Green, Danny May Reid, Rebecca Chalice, Dalton Hayward, Freddie Worlock, Alexander Calantuno, Madison Chappell, Chase Rainsbury, Matthew Whitmarsh, Tyler Rackham, Michael Gurney, Lewis Joyner, Adrian Kalema and Luca Cook were already underway and racing. Got in here. Oh, there's a bit of argy-bargy. Someone's round in the middle. Two people collect them. Bit of an incident down at the first corner. All drivers rejoining, though, luckily. So all seemingly okay. Oh, we've got one driver pulling off into the pits then. So already, after one corner of racing, one driver is already out. We'll see when they cross Sector 1. It's Michael Gurney who has collected the spinning driver there on the 53. And Michael Gurney out of this race already, sadly for him. Side by side, up at the top section of the circuit, down into climate they go. Then they all manage to sort themselves out and get back in single file. But who's leading as we come across the line then? It is still Travis Rose from Levi Sangera. Then it's Sam Mott who's managed to move ahead of Matthew Grove on that first lap into third place. Side by side into the fast left-hander. That always scares me at Johnny's, but Charles Green's done that perfectly. Through he goes on Harvey Murden. There's a few different names in this one who have done pretty well in earlier heats. We've seen Freddie Worlock in an incident earlier on. He's battling well there, though, in 9th place. Spencer Trehorn, I want to say, has won a race earlier on today. In 12th place, he's been doing well. Dalton Hayward as well has definitely won a race there. He's in 17th at the moment. Rebecca Chalice, we saw grass cutting a little bit earlier, but doing Lawnmower Simulator. But she's back out in this one, which is good to see. There was a yellow flag up near the top of the track, up at midgets, but it looks to have gone away now, I think. So I think potentially a driver just falling off the circuit, getting back on and continuing. It's Matthew Grove who has gone off on the number 51. He's down 15 places. So Matthew Grove was sitting there in 4th place. Something's happened up at midgets between Matthew and a fellow competitor. And Matthew has dropped all the way down into 19th. And he's a good 4 seconds off of the rest of the field as someone else... Oh, it's a Battenberg flag. I wondered why everyone was slowing down. Battenberg flag out there on circuit, and it's because the 23 has pulled over just after the start-finish line. So Matthew Whitmarsh's kart has come to a halt. Battenberg flag is out, though, to get that kart, and of course the driver as well, into a safe position. I say that as well. There's also a kart off on the entrance to the pit lane. Potentially that is Harvey Murden then, as he is dropping down the order as well. We of course lost Michael Gurney on the first lap, but it's Matthew Whitmarsh who's off outside my commentary box window, so it must be Harvey Murden who's off on the entrance to the pit lane. So it wasn't... I don't think it was him who caused the yellow flag up there. It looks to be down at the first corner. He's gone off and the barriers seem to have moved, so potentially a decently big off then for Harvey Murden, but he's out of the car. He looks totally fine, just a little bit dismayed with the situation. But we're under Battenberg conditions now here at Forest Edge for the final heat of the day of our junior Rotaxes. Travis Rose has led us from the start of this race and is still there in the lead. I will say, usually when these Battenberg flags come out, it's the worst thing for the leader, obviously, because they built out a gap already in this race, and now they're going to have to do it all again when we get it restarted. But to be fair for Travis, hadn't built out a giant gap anyway, so I don't think it's a huge loss for him in this one. And it actually can sometimes be a bit of a positive for the leader, because of course during these Battenberg conditions the timer continues to tick down, so there's less and less time for people to then battle with and overtake Travis. However, if that does end up happening, there's less time for Travis to then try and battle back through. It looks as though the Battenberg flags are coming in though, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be about to go back to green flag racing conditions. Green flag is out. Travis Rose kicks us off. What a start from Travis Rose. They're battling him behind already. Sam Mott immediately down the inside of Levi Sangera. Catches Levi Sangera napping there. Side by side. Oh my goodness. Once again into Johnny's. Is that Charles Green doing it again? Yes, it is. I think he sent it on Levi Sangera this time. So, Charles Green is absolutely loving moves at Johnny's. And Charles Green, I believe, making up another place then. Second and third, very close into midgets already. Travis Rose trying to build out that gap at the front, and he's doing a good job of it. Through climate they come once again, and it is Charles Green who's now made it up to second place. So, hey, he's had some aggressive moves, but they've been working, and he's up to P2 already in this one. 2 minutes and 15 to go. We've got a spin at the first corner. Luckily, spins offline, and no one collects him. That was a bit of a hairy moment. For one of the drivers there through the first couple of corners. He's dropped all the way to the back of the order. Let's see who this is. It's the 41, I think. Yeah, it is. Spencer Trehorn on the 41 from 7th place. Went for a move down the inside. The door that had opened quite quickly closed. He clipped the back end of the kart and spun himself round off of the circuit. No contact made. Continues on, but all the way at the back of the pack. Look at this now, the 77 of Charles Green. He's all over the back of Travis Rose now. He's only needed a lap or so to chase him down. And we've already seen Charles Green go for some mental moves. So Be ready and waiting for another one of those. A minute and a half left to go then. New fastest lap on the last lap from Charles Green. Nearly 4/10 quicker than Travis Rose on that last lap. They come up towards the bus stop chicane. Still in the order that I was expecting, but for how much longer? Super close on exit. Checking over the shoulder. There's the move down the inside for the lead from Charles Green. The door was left open there by Travis, but Travis tries the up and under. Can he get there? No, he can't. Charles Green holds the inside and holds the lead of the race. And now, who have we got here? Sam Mott and Freddie Worlock straight on the scene. Trying to go for it. Late move down the inside. Nearly sends them both out wide into the barrier there. Travis Rose gives the room, thank goodness. And Sam Mott and Freddie Worlock slip through there at the first couple of corners. Freddie Worlock's just taken the fastest lap on the last lap as well. This is perfect, though, for Charles Green as they all scrap in behind. Charles gets the opportunity to scamper away at the front. And it does look as though Freddie Worlock has dropped... sorry, not Freddie Worlock. Travis Rose has potentially dropped to 4th place through all of that. Into climate they come once again now, and that's dragged more people involved in this battle. Levi Sagera's there again. Danny May Reed's now getting involved. 15 seconds on the timer. We'll have 2 more laps here at Forest Edge. But it is indeed Travis Rose finds himself in 4th now, right in the middle of that squabble. Drivers trying to go 3 wide down into the Haynes loop. That's never going to work, but they all give each other room. They all filter back into single file, and somehow it does all work. Dalton Hayward's in 8th place. Dalton Hayward's just got the fastest lap of the race. 400ths quicker than Charles Green at the sharp end of the order. Timer has hit 0 now, though. And only just over a kilometre to go for Charles Green to hold on to this win. I do want to say that we've seen Charles win here today already. I'll have to double check that information. He's got the 88 of Freddie Worlock now for company. All these top sort of 6 line astern now, really. It's getting super feisty into the Haynes loop in the battle behind. Who's that? We've got Tyler Rackham downwards. 10th to 16th place going at it through the first couple of corners. What a great battle that is, involving 6 or 7 drivers. But we've got to keep our attention on the front of the order. I do think Charles Green's just done enough. Despite this late charge from Freddie Worlock, he got the fastest lap of the race on the penultimate lap. But I do think it's just a little bit too little, too late for Freddie. Round the final couple of corners they come then. And it will be Charles Green who comes round, sees the checkered flag first, and takes the win in the last heat of the day for Junior Rotax. Great battling throughout there. Freddie Worlock and Sam Mott then, the rest of your top 3. Look at that across the line. Wow, great battling further down the pack as well. So it's Travis Rose in 4th place, Levi Sangera 5th, Danny May Reed in 6th. Charlie Hume and Dalton Hayward there 7th and 8th. Then a bit of a gap to Luca Cook in 9th, your top rated novice. Then a little bit of a gap to Chase Rainsbury, and then the rest of the field in behind. Chase Rainsbury in 10th, Tyler Rackham 11th, Alexander Colantuno in 12th, Madison Chappell 13th, then Rebecca Chalice, Matthew Grove, Lewis Joyner, Adrian Kalemi, Spencer Trehorn. And that was it. That's your 18 finishers. 3 were out of the race. Harvey Murden, Matthew Whitmarsh, and Michael Gurney. Those 3 not making it to the checkered flag. In that one, we lost Michael on the first lap of the race, collecting the other spinning driver. And then Harvey Murder and Matthew Whitmarsh were the cause, I believe, of that Battenberg flag. Sadly, none of those 3 making it to the checkered flag. But hopefully we'll see them out for their final later on today. But I do believe, I'll just quickly double check, that is indeed it for Junior Max. It's the Rotax Inters who will be heading out onto the circuit next. right now, just as we get ourselves sorted and ready for the Rotax Inters to head out on circuit. I nearly forgot. I knew I had to get this out ASAP, but it's been so busy as we kicked off this afternoon's racing. I've not been able to. Now, there's been a raffle conducted here for the Southern Championships with some lovely sponsors as well. Just as the Rotax Inters head out, two prizes for each class. One sponsored by the IKD Kart store and one sponsored by AAM Race Engines. So a big thank you to IKD Kart store and AAM Race Engines for sorting out the prizes for the raffle. Now, as I say, two prizes for each class. They've been randomly drawn. There's almost nearly a crash before we can get to the start there. Devon Taylor getting in the back of another driver. But it looks as though we're going round to get this one started. So we'll run you through who has won the raffle in each class after this race has completed, or as soon as I can, when I get a moment to breathe here at Forest Edge. Right, where's the grid then? Heat number 3 of Rotax Inter. Konstantin Krastev and Arthur Brooker are on the front row for this one. Nathan Ron and Devon Taylor on row 2. Ethan Cousins and Fenton Stoneman are on row 3, with Warwick Milam and Freddie Ellingham on row 4. Daniel Wisnauskas and Nate Ganger on row 5, with Harrison Stacey, Jacob Jarvis and Oliver Dan rounding out the 13 kart grid then for this one. Warwick Milam won heat number 1. Fenton Stoneman won heat number 2. We're going to see a new name on the winner sheet for today, or will it be one of those once again? To the race start we go already, and into the first corner. Front 3 all off the circuit. One driver going grass tracking all the way over, but there just was no room given by the drivers on the front row. They went spinning off, and who was it that took avoiding action? It was the 67 of Nathan Ron. So Krastev and Brooker come together. Ron spins off in avoidance. Who's going to be in the lead of the race now? It might be Warwick Milam, ladies and gentlemen, on the number 35. Where did he start in this race? He started P7. I think he might be in the lead of the race here. Up into sector 3 they go then. Potentially now Devon Taylor. He's got the fastest sector 2. I really have no idea where anyone is in this gaggle anymore. Who's in the lead of the race? It's the 14 of Devon Taylor. Warwick Milam's in P2 and not for much longer. Getting shuffled out wide by the 48. He's going to try and hold it round the outside. The 48 of Fenton Sloman squeezes into the apex. But Warwick Milam doesn't mind that. And Warwick Milam sides back through. What a battle this is already between Milam and Stoneman. But they've got to watch out. If they keep battling like this, Devon Taylor is going to very quickly press on in the lead of the race here. As both Milam and Stoneman have just got a contact warning for their troubles coming through on the timing screens. Battling a little bit too closely. It has changed, as now there's a change to third as well. I think potentially Milam might have slipped down to 4th here, as Stoneman gets into 2nd. I think Ethan Cousins has just gone through up at midgets to take 3rd. Yes, he has. So Warwick Milam slipped from 2nd to 4th place then. And now Stoneman, Cousins and Milam, that's the order of the charge towards Devon Taylor. Devon still doing a good job at the front of the field. Fastest lap of the race, 44.8, comes the way of Devon on the last lap. But once again, we've only had 2 laps of racing here so far. Plenty of time for that momentum to shift. 2nd and 3rd very close together again. Stoneman once again under pressure, this time though from Ethan Cousins. Warwick Milam still very much there, waiting in the wings, but just not quite close enough to think for a move. In behind though, one of the Sony karts dives to the inside. The 67 and the 71 are going at it. Nathan Rond down the inside of Konstantin Krastev. Krastev tries to hold it around the outside. He might just do that. Fair play to Konstantin Krastev. What a move that was through the Haynes loop. It was Ron who went down the inside into the last corner. Krastev then held it round the outside from the exit of the last corner all the way round to Johnny's and retook it back away from Nathan Rond. Great battle for 6th there. There's a battle going on for 2nd though, as Cousins goes down the inside of Stoneman up at midgets. They're still side by side down into climber, but finally the move is done for the 17 of Ethan Cousins. He's into 2nd place, and now once again Milam, his eye line is filled with Fenton Stoneman once again. That's the 71 and 67 are going at it again. Krastev trying to hold it around the outside, trying the up and under once again. It's an identical move to what we saw last lap, and once again Krastev comes out on top. Brilliant battling going on between Krastev and Rond, and now Daniel Wisnauskas is getting involved with that battle as well, as those two holding each other up has given the 27 an opportunity to get involved. Now, I will say the three battling over second, third and fourth place, they've been chopping and changing all around, but Devon Taylor ahead isn't getting away. Ethan Cossins got the fastest lap on the last lap. Now that he's managed to get through on the 48 of Fenton Stoneman, he's pressing on towards the leader. There is still 3 minutes and 10 seconds here. Still plenty of time for Cossins to get something done here as he sets another fastest lap. This time, though, only 600ths quicker than Devon Taylor's personal best. Also set on that last lap as well. Through up into the bus stop chicane, they come once more, still as they were. Even into the braking zone there, you saw how much Ethan Cossins closed in on Devon Taylor. I hope you saw that on the cameras here at Forest Edge. It's lovely and bright here today, so the most ideal conditions for seeing everything that's going on as I chuck everything around here in the comms box. I'm getting a little bit too excited as the 17 of Ethan Cossins closes in once more on Devon Taylor. He's closer than he has been all race here. And now I think Fenton Stoneman and Milam in behind need to sort of calm it a little bit and say, hey, let's work together for at least the next few laps here. We need to stay on the back of Taylor and Cossins. If they get together here, if it all gets a little bit close, we could be there to pick up the pieces. So Stoneman and Milam need to down their swords, at least for a moment, and just watch and wait what happens ahead. Taylor stays ahead for now anyway. It's a good exit off of the bus stop chicane. That's going to mean no chance for a move this time anyway for Cossins. Cossins close though, down into climate. Not quite close enough. Still just less than 2 minutes to go. And these four very much in their own pack still. Absolutely nose to tail there. Through the Haynes loop. Crash Dev and Ron will not stop fighting. Every time I look at Crash Dev and Ron, they're side by side. This time, almost identical moves once again through the first couple of corners, but this time Rond is the one who comes out on top. Retakes 6th place away from Konstantin Krastev, but Nathan Rond and Konstantin Krastev having a fantastic battle. Has it changed at the lead? I think it might have done. Side by side for the lead of the race, then back through goes Devon Taylor. So there was an overtake there from Ethan Cossins that saw him very briefly take the lead of the race then. But a midget's back down the inside. Last corner though, move from Warwick Milam. Through on Fenton Stoneman. Stoneman does the up and under. It's going to force Milam to the inside here at Haynes Loop, but Milam takes it once more. Warwick Milam back into 3rd place then. And still Devon Taylor doing everything he can to hold on to the lead here. And Ethan Cossins doing everything he can to grab it off him. Into Sector 2 they go. They're going to be line astern as they head up towards the bus stop once again, but who's going to be in front? It's still Devon Taylor, but only just. Cossins, Milan and Stoneman now all in the wheel tracks. He's close to the move to the lead, but holds onto it as Devon Taylor. Shows a bit of wing there, moves over to the inside and covers off the potential overtake from Ethan Cossins. 20 seconds still to go on the timer here, move for 2nd place. Milam's down the inside. Milam takes 2nd place away from Ethan Cossins. Cossins now under pressure from behind as well, as Fenton Stoneman's trying to find a way through. Stoneman forced to stay behind now though. Down towards sector number 2. He's going to get a better exit, but Ethan Cossins and Fenton Stoneman have both lost out time then to Devon Taylor and Warwick Milam. This gives the perfect opportunity to Warwick Milam to get something done here through the dying moments, as they've now created a small, very small breakaway between 3rd and 4th in behind, but Milam's just not close enough to think about a move here. The time has now hit 0. They're going to come around the final corner and Devon Taylor's going to see the last lap ball. He holds that inside line. He knows that Warwick loves to move to the inside there at the final corner. On to the last lap we go then for heat number 3 of Rotax Inter's. Big defensive move into Haynes Loop from Devon Taylor, and he continues to hold on to it. What a masterclass of defensive manoeuvres so far in this race from Devon Taylor. We were saying, is it going to be someone new to win a race here in the Inters? Warwick Milam's got one. Fenton Stoneman's got one. Now Devon Taylor wants one. And this could shovel up the pit, but Milam's down the inside. At the bus stop chicane, Milam sends it down the inside. Relegates Devon Taylor to 2nd place. Devon's really close though. Can he find a way to fight back and retake this win here in heat number 3? Or is Warwick Milam going to take 2 wins on the day here? Down into the final quarter they come. I don't think he's going to be close enough. And Warwick Milam takes win number 2 here in heat number 3. Fantastic racing there. What a race from Devon Taylor. Real heart there shown by Devon Taylor. Great grit and determination, but sadly just pipped to the win there on the final lap. Fenton Stoneman finishes that top 3, with Ethan Cousins just behind in 4th place. Nathan Rond and Nate Gange were there in 5th and 6th, so something happened there for Nathan Rond and Daniel Wisniewski. No, it was Kostin Krastev, wasn't it, who were battling? So Daniel Wisniewski is in 7th, Krastev finishes in 8th, Ellingham in 9th, Oliver Dan, your top-rated novice, in 10th, with Harrison Stacey, Arthur Brooker and Jacob Jarvis, your 13 finishers there in Rotax Inter heat number 3. As I've said after all of the heats so far today, because these are the last heats before we get into the finals. Now that's it for racing for the Rotax Inters in their heats for today. It's the senior Rotaxes who'll be heading out on circuit once again. But like I mentioned before that race, let's see if I can tell you the winners of the raffle here today. Just as I say that, they've all just headed out on circuit. I'm not going to get enough time here. We're chatting with the higher powers here. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, well, I'm good. I'm glad I've just checked my phone, because I've just got a message 5 minutes ago from Mr. Parsons saying, don't announce who has the prizes. We're going to do it with the trophies. So, cool. I'm not going to tell you, actually, anyway, so probably no real need to bribe me there. I also have no power on proceedings, so absolutely useless in terms of bribing, but I'll accept your cash if you're offering it. Right. Let's have a look at the grid then. Heat number 3 for senior Rotax. Emily Davidson and Bradley Howes line up on the front row. George Hulme and Aaron Asarkos are on row 2. Rufus Fan and Michael Pugh are on row 3, with Oliver Smith, Toby Case, Blake Tysers and Ben Hicks, your top 10. We have indeed got a chevron flag, thank goodness, so I can carry on a little bit more subdued for the rest of this grid. Luke Evans and Kieran Ives are on row 6. Matthew Lambert and Dominic Cousins on row 7, with Elliot Rice and Ian Nate on row number 8. Sam Harrison and Ethan Lomax are on row 9, with Bobby Rozier and Ben Ballou on row 10. Matt Jones, Alex Wallaby and Aidan Blair, your 23 starters for this Forest Edge Kart Club. Round number 4, Senior Rotax Heat 3. Right, here they come then, round the final corner. Second time of asking for Senior Rotax. See if we can get it underway in racing. Lights go on, lights go off. We are underway in racing. Drivers nearly finding the grass on the exit of the first corner. They're absolutely on the edge of grip there as they sigh through the first sector of this circuit. All getting very close into Johnny's. Somehow they've all made it through to the exit. Just about the 88 was that, kicking up a lot of dust on the exit. It can't have been. There's no 88 in this race. Potentially the 68 of Luke Evans, that might have been. He was getting a little bit wide there off of the exit curve and found a bit of dust. Not ideal for grip levels on the tyres, that one. But already, is it Bradley Howes scything into the lead of this race? He's already got, what's that, 7, 8 kart lengths maybe in the lead after only one lap of racing here. The 24 of Emily Davison, your pole sitter, has dropped down ever so slightly. Holding on to second place, but not for much longer. Late down the inside. She's fended off well, but she's been knocked out wide and through slip both drivers. The 77 and the 76 there of Aaron Asarkos and Michael Pugh. However, I do think Aaron Asarkos might have assisted Emily Davison to the edge of the circuit there. I'll put that in my most politically correct language there so I don't upset anyone. Potentially some assistance on the edge of the circuit. But either way, I think Emily's dropped down to 4th. Potentially even further now. There's a move up at midgets. Some sort of mirroring manoeuvres there as one driver goes down the inside and behind another driver. There's a move at the final corner. 36 slips through. And that is the 24 of Emily Davison just slipping further downwards. Blake Tysers it was who stole away that position at the final corner. It's Elliot Rice who's laying down the pace at the moment. He's right in the middle of this huge squabble in the middle of the pack as more drivers try and go 2 by 2 through Johnny's. Do they never learn? It was Sam Harrison who dived to the inside there. Luckily, they all make it through. Oh, someone's gone straight over the bus stop chicane there. They were trying to go side by side. That was for 3rd place. So I think it was Rufus Flan trying to get through on Aaron Asarkos there. And I think Rufus has gone straight over the chicane. Whether he's held on to the same position, I'm not so sure. Into the final corner. Change to 3rd place. Down the inside goes Ben Hicks. That's Ben Hicks through on the 77 of Aaron Asarkos. Rufus Flan does slip through now. Front 2 are driving away with this though. 3.5 seconds separates Bradley Howes in the lead and Ben Hicks in 3rd place. But it's Michael Pugh who separates the two of them, who sets the pace. Pugh is in a lovely spot right now. He's not got to think about anyone behind him. They're so far away. He is full focus ahead to the one driver between himself and this race win here in heat number 3. Round the final sector they come then. It's basically third place backwards to the entire rest of the field. Late dives down the inside. There's one from the 87. A little cheeky move to the inside there. That's Matt Jones through on Matthew Lambert for 12th place, that was. Some drivers still going side by side there through the Haynes Loop. All managing to make it work, though, as they head into Johnny's. Good respectful racing here from our senior Rotax drivers, but continuing. He can be relatively relaxed here. He's still got a good 2 seconds plus back to the drivers in behind. And he's still got 3.5 minutes on the clock. If he can slowly eke down this gap lap on lap, he still has a chance here for the lead of the race. Look how close all these drivers are. Is that Ben Ballou down the inside into Haynes Loop? Yes, it is. Ben Ballou through this race at the final corner. That's the 77 of Aranas Sarkos out of this race. Aranas was battling up in second place only a few laps ago. Sadly, Aranas coming up crossings broken on the 29. Race, we're down to 20 runners in total then. That gap, though, slightly extended on the last lap between Howes and Pugh. Howes getting in a really nice once again, yeah, ever so slightly. Howes builds out that gap. It was a personal best from Pugh, but still not quite fast enough. Third and fourth still line astern, though. Hicks and Flan. Ben Hicks versus Rufus Flan for third place then. Just less than 2 minutes on the timer. On that last lap, though, the top 6 is times. Listen to this, okay. Bradley Howes, 40.9, 40.78. So the pace here in Senior Rotax is ridiculous. Everyone is so close on pace. More moves at the last corner. Someone's lost their front nose cone. The 84 of Ben Hicks has no nose cone, and the 84 of Ben Hicks will be returning to the pit lane, as he so rightly should. Zero protection for the ankles there. I think I can see his nose cone between Climate and Midgets there. So something's happened there. I think he will have got caught with another car and it's ripped off in the process in, but not enough, I don't think, for Howes to be worried here for the last bit of the race. But now, Tysers, Eyes and Ballou are the closest challengers to the lead. Almost 5 seconds off of that lead now, though, it's Blake Tysers. But Ben Ballou, it's been a good race from him. The Southern Champs plate holder started... Where did he start in this race? 20th place. Ben Ballou started in 20th place and he's in 5th at the moment. And there he goes to the move for 4th place. Down the inside goes Ben Ballou. That's 16 places gained in this race so far, ladies and gentlemen. 10 seconds on the clock. Not quite the last lap. Still 2 to go then. And that's great for Ben Ballou. He's only got one more driver to get past and he's in the top 3 in this race. He's got a huge train of karts in behind him though. Yeah, Ben Ballou, new fastest 7, despite overtaking someone on that last lap. Move at Johnny's once again. That was the 49 siding through. Bobby Rozier through on Elliot Rice for 11th place there. And that gap between the two leaders once again still closing, but not fast enough for Michael Pugh to think about a win in this one. In the earlier heats, Matt Jones and Dominic Cousins both have a win today. So that's changed then, because I remember Ben Ballou getting a win on the road, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken here. Oh, I am mistaken because there's no penalties for Ben Ballou, so I could have sworn he won a race. No, he came second. My apologies. It was Matt Jones who pipped him on the last lap of Heat 1. That was it. Moves going on through Haynes Loop and the bottom of the order. Great to see so many drivers still going at it wherever they are in the order. There's people, as I said, the pace is so close amongst the entire field, but there's people at all positions in that varying pace. So all the drivers here are having great battles through this whole race. The last lap board is out then. This is it round the final corner. It is going to be Bradley Howes who takes the win in Heat 3 for Senior Rotax. Second place for Michael Pugh. The SC of Ben Ballou can't quite grab third place away from Blake Tysers. Has to settle for 4th. Kieran Ives was in 5th then, with Rufus Flan in 6th. Matt Jones, Dominic Cousins, Ethan Lomax and George Hulme was your top 10. Behind them, Bobby Rozier, Elliot Rice, Matthew Lambert, Sam Harrison, Toby Case, Liam Nate, Aidan Blair, Ben Hicks. As I say that, Aidan Blair in 17th was your last finisher in that race. We lost Ben Hicks, Emily Davison, Alex Warnaby, Oliver Smith, Aaron Sarkis and Luke Evans. That's the most drivers we've lost in any race so far today. Definitely a chaotic Heat number 3 for Senior Rotax, and I hope their final is just as chaotic as that. I'm sure many people working here today don't, but I do from the comments box. I really do. Right, that's it. Heat 3 done for Senior Rotax. We've only got 2 more heats to come, ladies and gentlemen, before we go into the all-important finals and we crown the Southern champions for 2024. Next up, heat number 3 for the 177s and the 177 Masters. Out on circuit then, 177s and 177 Masters. They come through to complete their warm-up laps. Let's take you through the grid. Oliver Hutchings and Colin Davis on the front row. Sophie Jeffrey and Chris Thomas on row 2. Gary Cox and Oliver Appleby on row 3. Joshua Pickford and Chris Sawyer on row number 4. Daniel Zambo and Archie Elliott are on row 5 with Ollie Hancock and Neil Hemming on row 6. Matt Lear and Dennis Troetsiak on row 7 with Alan Kenyon and David Simpson on row 8. And it's Daniel Hammett, Lincoln Bailey-Arison and Jimmy Galloway. 20 karts on the grid for this one again. Of course, 177s and the 177 Masters on the track at the same time. Pole for the 177s is Oliver Hutchings. Pole for the Masters is Colin Davis. Both those drivers on the front row of the grid. So as I say, in all of these races, I'll try and keep you updated with what's going on in the classes over the race, as well as the overall first, second and third. Try and keep an eye on what's going on. It's been some great racing today. It's made my job more challenging, but I'm always open to that. Great racing here at Forest Edge. Let's get another one underway. And we do get it underway, first time of asking, immediately squeezing the 29 of Oliver Hutchins to the inside there, but he keeps his nerve, and Oliver Hutchins keeps the lead of the race then. Side by side through the fast left-hander of Johnny's. Somehow they all make it through. Down into sector 2, then they'll reappear into my sightlines in the bus stop chicane. All drivers flying through, and now Oliver Hutchings trying to make a good press on at the front as they're battling in for second place. Off onto the grass on the outside, though, was your leader. Oliver Hutchings kicking up the dust there on the outside, heading down into Climate, holds onto it though, and carries on in the lead onto another lap of the race then. Chris Thomas has made up a place on Sophie Jeffrey into third. In behind, 3 places gained for Archie Elliott from the start. He's gone from 9th to 6th already, and he's right in the middle of this huge pack in the middle of the order. As Hutchings and Davis begin to break away slightly, it's from Chris Thomas in third place downwards. basically the rest of the order trying to battle him through. Check over the shoulder from Hutchings then, working out how much time he has over Colin Davis. Hutchings did get the fastest lap on the first lap, but of course it's all a bit scrappy over that first lap, and as the drivers start to get into a rhythm now, we'll really see who's on that pace for the rest of this last heat of the day for the 177s. Big wide moment for third place there. The 16 of Chris Thomas kicks up a heap of dust outside our comms box window. Somehow doesn't lose any places, does lose a bit of time though, and now has Pickford and the rest of the field right on his rear bumper. That gives again, that's a massive positive for the two at the front. Hutchings ahead of Davis still, but Davis down the inside, change to the lead. Up at midgets, he gets it done. Trying the up and under is Davis, but it's Hutchings, sorry, but that's not going to work. And Davis holds on to the lead through sector number 3. Great move from Colin Davis. Fastest lap of the race on the last lap. Sets that once again on this one. Down into the 42s he goes. Can anyone stop the charging Colin Davis? Now, where was Colin in the first race? Colin was 7th place in the first race and 17th in the second because of a penalty. So this could be a race win for Colin. This would be huge, not only for his championship, but also for his potential starting position in the final later on today. Where's this pace come from Colin Davis? I don't know, but somehow he's found it during the lunch break. Maybe it was hiding in the back of the van somewhere. Either way, he's strapped on the talent to his kart for this third heat of the day, and he's pressing on in the lead of the race. He's still got Oliver Hutchings right with him though, and now that Chris Thomas has that bit of clear air, Chris Thomas now sets the fastest lap of the race on the number 16, and Chris Thomas starts his charge towards those two leaders. He's got about a second back to Archie Elliott in 4th, but also a second then ahead to Oliver Hutchings in 2nd place. So he's commandeering that no man's land at the moment, is Chris Thomas. Pressing on ahead towards the two leaders. He's got time though. We're just ticking over half race distance in this one. And it's all just starting to settle in now in this 177 race. The 15 of Chris Sawyer and the 51 of Ollie Hancock were very close there into the last corner. Ollie unable to find an opportunity to get past though. And Ollie stays in 7th place. For now, anyway, for now. 3 minutes left on the timer. Once again on that last lap, it was a new fastest lap of the race for Colin Davis. But that time was matched identically by Archie Elliott in 4th. So now the top 5 really, all sort of by themselves. Getting into a rhythm with things. Further increasing and increasing that pace. And further trying their best anyway to chase down Colin Davis. Unable to do so as of yet. How fast was Colin on that last lap? Once again very quick, but once again Archie Elliott sets the new fastest lap of the race. Main thing is that Chris Thomas in 3rd and Archie Elliott in 4th, both faster than Colin Davis in 1st and Oliver Hutchings in 2nd at the moment. So plenty of time for this to all change. Who were our winners in race 1 and 2? David Simpson and Archie Elliott both have a race win already. Archie Elliott is currently fastest out on circuit there in 4th place. And David Simpson, your winner from race 1, he's currently in 10th place at the moment. Around the final couple of corners they come then. So Colin Davis in the lead of the race. He's your leading Masters driver. Oliver Hutchings in 2nd place, your leading 177. So it's great to see how close it is as well between the younger 177s and the Masters as well. We've got Masters 177, Masters 177, 177, Masters, Masters, Masters 177, 177. It's great. Everyone's so close. So effectively, even though this is sort of a split grid race, everyone's so close on pace, it really doesn't matter at all. So it extends it from being what would have been maybe a 9 or 10 kart race for each class. Combining the two, we get 18 karts out on the circuit, and it's fantastic. More dust kicked up on the exit as someone, I can't remember what that's called now. I want to say paragliding, but it's the one where you have an engine strapped to your back. There's someone over the top of the circuit getting the best bird's eye view of Forest Edge Kart Club that money can buy there. Flying over the circuit and having a lovely time. To be fair, they picked a great day for such things. Is it parasailing? I can't remember. Either way, it's too high for me. I'm uninterested. Back to the ground. Back to 4 wheels, please. karts still out there on circuit, still circulating, still going at it. Still 1.6 seconds separating the top 4. Archie Elliott's pace has been fantastic, but so have the drivers around him, annoyingly for himself. So although he's got the fastest lap after fastest lap, it's only a tenth or two here and there on the competitors around him. Just over 30 seconds left to go on the clock. And Colin Davis still doing a great job managing the gap at the front here. You can tell this man's a Masters driver. A very mature drive here from Colin Davis. And looking to make it 3 different winners in the 3 races from the 177s. And David Simpson, who won Heat 1, has managed to get up into 8th place now overall. But that just shows, with these random grids that are set, how difficult it is when everyone's so close on pace that you can find yourself winning one heat and then being down in 8th, 9th, 10th place in a different heat. Fantastic racing. That's exactly what you want. There's the move for 3rd place. Late move down the inside from Archie Elliott. He finally takes away that final podium spot from Chris Thomas. But onto the last lap we go then. Big defensive move into the first few corners from Archie Elliott, but he does hold on to it as now they head through Johnny's. New fastest lap comes from David Simpson. Whatever the opposite of a commentator's curse is, that's what I've just done there to David Simpson. I was bigging him up, saying how well he did in Heat 1 and how it's not going so well in this one. Maybe that was what he needed, was me to tell him he wasn't going fast enough, and suddenly, fastest lap of the race from David Simpson. But it's a little bit too little too late from David. It's going to be tough for him to get anything better than 8th place, as your leader, Colin Davis, comes around the final corner and makes it 3 different winners from 3 races today here in the 177s. And we have one of our Masters drivers taking the top step there in Heat 3. Oliver Hutchings and Archie Elliott, your top 3 there. Good move from Archie to start that last lap to take 3rd place. Relegates Chris Thomas to 4th. Sophie Jeffrey finishes in that top 5 with Chris Sawyer, Ollie Hancock, David Simpson, Neil Hemming and Daniel Hammett, your top 10 there. Alan Kenyon was in 11th with Oliver Appleby, Dennis Trevetsiak, Matt Lear, Daniel Zambo, Lincoln Bailey Arneson, Joshua Pickford. Sorry, Lincoln Bailey Arneson, last of the finishers there in that one. Don't know what happened to him there at the end. He was definitely up in the top 10 last time I checked. So something must have happened for Lincoln Bailey Arneson there to slip down the order at the end. And sadly, Joshua Pickford and Gary Cox, neither of those drivers making it to the checkered flag. Now, I will say, Lincoln Bailey Arneson only finished 10 laps, and Lincoln Bailey Arneson, I hadn't seen a driver parked up at midgets until right now. So I have a feeling that that is Lincoln Bailey Arneson. And sadly, he dropped from somewhere in the top 10. He was on the last couple of laps to 16th at the end of that one. But that's it. 177s, all their heats are now done. We've got 1 heat left to go for round number 4 of the Forest Edge Kart Club in 2024. And it's none other than the Superkarts who will lead us towards the finals. on circuit come the supercarts then. Last heat of the day. Reece Buckland will be leading us onto it from pole position. Alongside him on that front row is Fraser Everett. There's Matthew Duncan and Daniel Buckland on row 2, with Spencer Chappell and Callum Smith on row number 3. Sam Gillis and Harry Morris are there on row 4, with Ross Cornick and Graham Payne on row 5. Mark Smith and Ian O'Rourke rounding out the grid on row number 6. 12 drivers once again taking to the start here in the supercarts. Who will see the checkered flag first though? We'll have to wait and see. Will it be Spencer Chappell once again? Spencer won race 1 and race number 2 today at round number 4. He's looking pretty set to take the SC plate and be crowned the Southern Champion for 2024. Spencer Chappell won race 1 by 5.7 seconds. He won race 2 by 4.3 seconds. So hey, at least those gaps are getting smaller throughout the day, so maybe we'll see something in the 3-second mark in this one. But Spencer's starting from 5th place. I want to say in heat number 2, yeah, he was up 8 places. He did indeed start P9, and I want to say he was in P1 while at the end of lap 1, the end of lap 2. It was a ridiculous showing from Spencer Chappell. I'm sure he'll be wanting to do exactly the same once again. But here come those supercarts into your eye line then, as they get gridded up and ready to go on what is such a beautiful day here at Forest Edge. Making sure it's updated. There you go. You've definitely got all the live timing now. So here we go then. About to get on the rain racing for the last heat of the day. Good start for the number 70. Immediately chops across to take the lead, does Reece. And I think everyone is indeed on the way from the grid. We had a couple of non-starters, I remember, at round 2. But everyone powering on already in this one. And already the 25 of Spencer Chappell, I think, is in 3rd place before we even get to Johnny's there. What a start once again from Spencer Chappell as they head up past the Butchtoft chicane. Of course, they don't use that. And already, there goes Spencer Chappell into 2nd place now. Up at midgets. 2nd place is now owned by the number 25. He's only got the number 70 of Reece Buckland ahead. Of course, Reece starting this race on pole position. It's all gone well off of the start. But now he's got the man who's won every race so far today right behind him. It's never really nice to have. A little bit scary, to be honest. Number 18 of Sam Gillis only just comes round under the start line. And it didn't seem all too healthy, that number 18 car. And potentially coming into the pits. No, he's not. He is continuing, but fiddling with something down on the engine. There we go. Move for the lead. Done and dusted already then for Spencer Chappell. I've just looked up. Into the final corner they come. And the number 25 already takes the lead of this race then. Relegates the 70 of Reece Buckland down to 2nd. In behind, they're all pretty close though. It's the 14 of Ross Cornick from 9th on the grid, who's up into 4th place. Already, 3rd place in this one already. Fair play to Ross Cornick. Harry Morris as well has had some good races earlier on today. He finds himself in 4th now, with Mark Smith still right on those two's coattails. Fraser Everett had that difficult start from 2nd place, finds himself in 6th now, with Callum Smith, Daniel Buckland, Graham Payne, Ian O'Rourke and Sam Gillis there. Sam is still circulating. And just as I say that, he pulls it into the pit. So something was indeed wrong there with the kart of number 18. And sadly, Sam Gillis won't be seeing the checkered flag in this one. But hopefully, sacrificing the end of this race, they'll then be able to get back out on circuit for the final later on today. Alright, on to lap 4 they go then. Spencer Chappell still leading us around this Forest Edge kart circuit. 38.1 on the last lap. Fastest up of a 37.99 for Spencer. Only driver on the entire grid to be in the 37s. As I said when I first commentated over these incredible supercars back at round 2, just watching them circulate is amazing, let alone having them race as well. They're just unbelievable, and they look... You know when you're watching something and it looks fast from off of the vehicle. You can only imagine how quick it feels when you're sitting inside of that vehicle. And these karts are doing ridiculous speeds, about 2 or 3 inches off of the ground. So that feeling of speed will be so incredibly heightened by the fact that they're only an inch or 2 off the ground. Sorry, I've just got captivated there by a spider running across the glass outside of my comms box window. He's having a great time. He's loving the racing here at Forest Edge. And he's the only one here with 8 legs. Well, apart from the other spiders, of course. Spencer Chapel through to finish another lap then on the 25. Still can't match his personal best lap time, but still on that last lap faster than anyone else out on circuit. That 3-way battle in 3rd, 4th and 5th is still the tastiest out there on circuit. Still Cornick leading Morris, leading Smith. The 96 of Mark Smith getting it nice and slidey through Johnny's there, doing everything he can to put down some good pace and chase the 2 drivers ahead of him. All 3 of them really close on pace. A 39.07 for Cornick, a 39.04 for Morris, and a 39.03 for Smith. One and a half minutes left to go on the clock then. Drivers all still as they were. But it's simply impressive on itself watching these karts. And as well, you don't take into account the fact that the drivers have their hand off of the wheel for a lot of the lap. They'll be driving one-handed because, of course, don't forget these supercars, you've got to change up and down gear in these. So, of course, one hand needs to come away from the wheel to be able to grab the shifter and to be able to change those gears. So, really impressive physical fitness as well from these supercar drivers to rag these karts around this circuit and for a lot of the time being one-handed while they do so. What's that gap now in the lead of the race? 4.5 seconds now between Chapel and Buckland. Reese Buckland's done a really good job, to be fair. They're in 2nd place. Where's he been in our previous races? Reese finished in 7th place in heat number 1 and 6th place in heat number 2. So this will be a huge rise up the order for Reese if he can take P2 here in heat 3. And as I mentioned in previous races, it'll be a massive help for him in terms of grid position heading into the final later on today. 25 as Spencer Chapel comes around to finish another lap with just over 10 seconds left to go on the clock. So we'll get 2 more laps of this heat 3 for supercarts. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we move into the all-important part of the day, into those finals where we start to crown the Southern Champs for 2024. Timer has hit 0 then. Where is Spencer Chapel? He's coming up just to put a lap now on Ian O'Rourke. Through he goes. He's going to start lap number 10 now, is Spencer Chapel, and start the last lap of this race. So still Chapel ahead of Buckland. Nearly 6 seconds now, that gap between Chapel and Buckland. Ross Cornick has managed to get ahead, or get away from Morrison Smith. Morrison Smith batting out though. Was that a change of position? It was. Through the Haynes loop on the last lap. Mark Smith gets past Harry Morris. And Mark Smith takes 4th place for himself. Checkered flag comes out though. And under the gantry comes your race winner once again. Spencer Chapel makes it 3 from 3 around 4 here in the supercars. Great race for Reese Buckland to take 2nd place. There's Rox Cornick rounding out the podium. And there are the 41 and the 96, but it changed again on the last lap. Harry Morris got back through on Mark Smith. Great battling between those two. But Morris just pips Mark Smith for 4th place then. Callum Smith was behind in 6th. Fraser Everett finishes in 7th place. Behind them, Daniel Buckland and Ian O'Rourke. Your 9 finishers in that one. Sadly, we of course lost Graham Payne and Sam Gillis earlier on in that race. But all of the heats now done and dusted, ladies and gentlemen. The final heats for Supercar is finished. Of course, before we go into those all-important finals where we'll crown the Southern champions for 2024, First of all, it's the Junior Rotax B final. The top 4 drivers here from the B final will get another opportunity in the A final to try and win that SC plate. It's a Junior Rotax B final coming up now. They've already exited the pit lane. Let's see if the grid is ready for this one, and it is indeed. It's Jensen Cox who lines up on the pole position. Alongside him is Rebecca Chalice on that front row. Madison Chappell and Zach Burke are on the second row, with Adrijan Kalemi and Matthew Grove on row 3. Michael Gurney and Jacob Sinfield are on row 4, with Jacob Clay, Josh Spence and Matthew Whitmarsh rounding out the 11 karts on the grid for this B final. Now, as I mentioned, 4 drivers will be going through to the A final later on today. But which drivers will those be? Not got too long to find out now. As now, I'm probably going to jinx it now, but I'm going to put the link in the Facebook group once again. An attempt to get people in here. Watch these. Oh, we're underway and racing. I almost missed the race start there. We got it underway so quickly. Jensen Cox leads us under the gantry to get a 6-minute final underway. And through they go, down into sector number 2. Into the bus stop chicane they'll come. Oh dear, someone's already parked it up before we got that race underway then. The 10 drivers take to the start. Who was it that didn't get underway? I'm going to have a difficulty spotting who that was. Was it Zach Burke? No, Zach Burke's in the race. It is. So it's the number 28 of Adrijan Kalemi who's not made it round to the start of this race, sadly for Adrijan. He won't have another opportunity to get to the A final. That's it. His day is done and dusted. Gutting for him to wait around for that B final and not even make it to the start, sadly, for himself. 22, is it? Gotcha. My apologies. I seem to have got it wrong then. My apologies. Yeah, Adrijan Kalemi is in the race. The 28. My apologies. It was the 42. Cool, thank you. 42 who's out of the race. That being Jacob Clay. So he started, well, was supposed to start P9 in this race. But Jacob Clay out before we get it underway, sadly for Jacob. There's a move for the lead down the inside at the last corner. That's Zach Burke through on Madison Chappell. But as we say, you only need to be in the top 4 at the end of this race. It doesn't matter really if you're first, second, third or fourth. It just means that you start either, if you're fourth, you start last. If you're third, you start second last. It doesn't really have a huge impact on what happens in the A final. Just get yourself in that top 4. That's all that matters. But Zach Burke, of course, like any racer, wants the win. And he takes that away for the moment anyway from Madison Chappell. And now Zach Burke starting to build out that gap already. Let's look at this battle for fourth though. Adrijan Kalemi, who I thought was out of this race, very much isn't. Is very much in with this battle for the last spot in the A final. The 28 under pressure though from Rebecca Chalice. The number 22 seeing if she can find a way through. Thinking about it down into Haynes Loop, but not quite close enough. That's going to lose her a little bit of time here. And if Adrijan keeps losing time to the driver ahead, this is going to be the last spot available for the A final. Again, Chalice thinks about it down into Winger's Dip, but not quite close enough. The 51 is going apoplectic across the line. Matthew Grove there, a 1:01 on the last lap, so lost about 15-20 seconds. So I think can assume something's happened there between Matthew Grove and someone else on circuit. Either way, Matthew wasn't too happy about it. I think Matthew might have even gone straight into the pit lane there, sadly. Onto a new lap goes the 57 of Zach Burke. He's commanding this race well out at the front. With a 58 of Jensen Cox has lost a bit of time on that last lap. A good second or two. And that's allowed for Adrijan Kalemi, Rebecca Chalice and now Michael Gurney to close up on him. So now we have third, fourth, fifth and sixth all in the train. I will say Matthew Grove is still circulating. My apologies. I must have just missed him come through other side of my shot. Move for fourth place potentially on. No, the door is closed once again. And Rebecca Chalice just seemingly unable to find a way through here. She's getting close though into the last corner, but again doesn't bite the bullet. Doesn't go for it. And that's understandable. You don't want to go for a move and end up knocking yourself out of the race entirely when you're so close to a potential spot in the A final. But equally, there's got to be a certain point where you go, right, okay, if I don't go for this, I'm not going to get through at all. Now, Matthew Whitmarsh on the 23 has a mechanical flag. So 8th place sitter Matthew Whitmarsh will be set back to the pit lane. Something is wrong with his kart, and that meatball flag comes out for himself. Rebecca Chalice still all over the back of Adrian Kalemi now. Into the final corner they come, and Adrian trying to find a way through on Jensen Cox, but can't do so himself. So currently at the moment, Rebecca Chalice and Michael Gurney sat oh so close to a potential A final spot, but not quite close enough at the moment. And Rebecca Chalice unable to find a way through. She's gone for it late down the inside in sector number 2. That doesn't make it work. We've got a spinner in the last corner. That is the 23. And I can see why he's got a mechanical flag now, as his entire rear bumper is hanging off. It's Matthew Whitmarsh. He goes back into the pits now. So Goody follows his meatball flag. Back into the pits he goes. And sadly, that'll be day over for Matthew Whitmarsh there. Round the final corner come our competitors. Less than a minute left to go on the clock then, and still Jensen Cox and Adjison Kalemi have those final 2 places in the A final. 2 novices currently beating out some more experienced drivers. Expressive stuff from Adjison. He's just kept it clean, kept putting in the pace, and Rebecca has been unable to find a way past. 30 seconds left to go on the clock, and I think we're just about going to see 2 more laps of the circuit here. Zach Burke has commanded this race. 4 seconds in the lead he'll be as he comes around to finish this lap. 42.72 fastest lap, makes that even faster with a 42.58. Here's where we need to be looking though. Extending a bit of a gap is 3rd place. Potential move here with Rebecca Chalice. She goes for it down the inside finally, but no, backs out of it once again into the Haynes loop. Rebecca is close enough, but she just isn't quite going for it at the apex. And she might lose out on the A final because of this. So close for Rebecca. She's setting herself up for the moves perfectly, but then just isn't quite grabbing at them. She's got a contact warning for her troubles as well, so just needs to be careful. Needs to think about this move. She's got a great exit off of the bus stop though. Potential for the overtake, but no. Backs out once again, does Rebecca Chalice. Up at midgets. Just can't quite seem to find a way through. Last lap has been started by Zach Burke then. There's Madison Chappell, currently in an A final spot. So is Jensen Cox, who's now created a bit of a gap between himself and Adrian Kalemi. So Adrian now is just got to fend off Rebecca Chalice and Michael Gurney for 1 more lap of this race. Rebecca thinking about it once again, down into Winger's Dip, but not quite close enough. She'll have maybe 2 more opportunities through the last part of this lap then to get an A final spot. Into the bus stop they go. She's all over the rear end of Kalemi in front. She thinks about it down the inside, but again backs out at midgets. She's now under pressure from Michael Gurney down to the final section of the circuit. There comes Zach Burke for the win of the race. He's in the A final. Who's going to get the last spot though? Rebecca Chalice can't get it down the inside of the final corner, and it will be the 28 of Adrian Kalemi who grabs that final spot in the A final. Of course, provisionally as well, don't forget. So Zach Burke, Madison Chappell, Jensen Cox and Adrian Kalemi, provisionally your 4 drivers into the Junior Rotax A final later on this afternoon. And sadly, again, provisionally, we say goodbye to Rebecca Chalice, Michael Gurney, Josh Spence, Jacob Sinfield, Matthew Grove and Matthew Whitmarsh. So sadly, 6 drivers heading home after that race. Well, actually, no, 7 drivers heading home after that race because, of course, we lost Jacob Clay before that race even got underway. So 7 drivers in the Junior Rotax car, sadly, will be heading home a little bit early this afternoon. But we look forward to seeing Zach Burke, Madison Chappell, Jensen Cox and Adrian Kalemi later in the A final. The B final done and dusted then. We move on to the finals that we're all excited for, ladies and gentlemen. Those A finals are coming up next, and we kick it off with the Honda Cadet 160 final. Can anyone pip Arthur Way to this Southern Championship? He's had a perfect day so far. He had a perfect day last month and a perfect day the month before. Can someone stop Arthur Way? You've not got long to wait and find out. Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. The finals are about to start here for round 4 of the Forest Edge Kart Club in 2024. Of course, round 4 is all important. This is where we crown our Southern champion in each classification. Of course, this will be the first time of the day where the grid is actually set by something that isn't totally random. So drivers all getting points throughout today's racing. And here at Forest Edge, it's the lowest amount of points gets pole position, and then the highest is at the back of the grid. 0 points from today from Arthur Way because he's won every single race so far today. Can anyone beat him to this Southern Championship? Well, Alex Gaskin is in the prime spot to try and stop Arthur Way from having another perfect day here today. Alex lines up second on the grid. Alfie Allen and Seth Jones are on row 2, with Daniel Barton and Tyler Banks on row number 3. Oliver Ratton and Stanley Kearley are on row 4, with Oliver Spence and James Devereaux row number 5. Alex Roach and Connor Yu on row 6, with Kobe Wood, Henry Duncan and Max Craven. 15 karts on the grid for this one. And of course, Honda Cadets once again. Only the Honda Cadets and the Superkarts that we see go for a standing start today. So this is going to be a little bit slower than the standing start you saw only a few moments ago. But what a race it's going to be nonetheless. Of course, we had that Superkart last heat. Now we've had the B final. Now we kick off the first final of the day. The Honda Cadet 160s are off and racing. Arthur Way immediately taking the lead, but down the inside, a driver's trying it around the first few corners. Arthur Way will have the inside for the next corner though, but can't chop back across. Who takes the lead of the race early on then? Is that Alex Gaskin, who's already slipped through? Impressive stuff from Alex Gaskin then. Alfie Allen, Seth Jones, Daniel Barton all in with a shout as well. But Arthur Way has already taken the lead back immediately. One driver goes up and over the bus stop chicane there in the middle. He's going to lose them a bit of time on the exit though. Back through goes another driver. Arthur Way under pressure though already in this final. He managed to get the lead back down at Winger's Dip. Can anyone side back through? There's a late move to the inside for the 11. Perfectly weighted there by Seth Jones at the final corner. Takes 4th place away from Alfie Allen. But it's Alex Gaskin and Daniel Barton who are leading the charge towards Arthur Way. They're still right on his rear bumper, but they've really got to make sure he can't get in a rhythm here and start to push off at the front of the field, which he loves to do. Of course, these finals, 11 minutes plus 1 lap in length. I think only the Superkart final is different to that. I want to say off the top of my head it was 9 minutes plus 1 lap for the Superkart final, but the rest of them 11 minutes. So quite substantially longer than the heats of the drivers have taken a part in today. Of course, they're all used to this. They've been on this schedule before. They've been to Forest Edge before. But it is difficult, especially a day like this. It's suddenly got hotter today. Will that mean that over a longer final, these drivers start to get a little bit tired? And those are when the mistakes start to creep in. Move down the inside into Haynes Loop for the number 90. Late move from Oliver Spence on Oliver Ratton. Oliver versus Oliver for 6th place. And you'll never guess what, Oliver's come out on top. I'll be a bit more specific. It was Oliver Spence who went through on Oliver Ratton there. Takes away 6th place. Stanley Kearley close in behind, but wasn't able to follow through that time of asking. Up to the bus stop they come. I will say, Arthur Way is not pulling away here. Alex Gaskin still right on his rear end. Arthur Way did get the fastest lap of the race on the last lap, but he's not dropping the drivers around him as quickly as we've gotten used to in the Honda Cadets here at FEKC. On to lap 3 they go then. What's the pace looking like now? 48.7 for both Way and Barton, but it's a 48.6 for Alex Gaskin here. Alex is all over the rear axle of Arthur Way through sector number 1, still in his wheel tracks, as they now head down towards Winger's Dip. Thinking better of it this time, though, was Alex. But I said, could anyone bring the fight to Arthur Way here? And the answer at the moment seems to be yes. Great for us as spectators of this fantastic race. A little bit of a mistake there through the bus stop sees Alex Gaskin drop maybe a kart length or so off of Arthur Way. Gives the opportunity for Daniel Barton to get back in the mix. And it's about 8-9 kart lengths then back to the rest of the train, headed up by Seth Jones. And now there's a move down the inside of the final corner for 5th place. Alfie Allen getting overtaken by Oliver Spence. So Oliver Spence only a lap or two ago got past Oliver Ratton for 6th. Now he's through on Alfie Allen for 5th place as well. He's the number 90 of Oliver Spence now going to want to hook onto the back of Seth Jones, and hopefully he can push Seth back towards those 3 at the front. But Seth Jones, Oliver Spence and Alfie Allen all a 10th or 2 off of the pace of those 3 leaders at the front. It does seem like Arthur Way can just navigate that bus stop chicane just a tad faster than Alex Gaskin. But Gaskin is fast throughout the whole rest of the lap, so I think he needs to make a move stick. Potentially down the Haynes Loop, maybe the last corner. There's a couple of places where he seems just a little bit faster than Arthur Way through this final. But still, Arthur Way's in the lead of the race, and that's what really matters at the end of the day. New fastest lap for Alex Gaskin on the last lap, 400ths quicker than Arthur Way's last lap, which was also his personal best. 6.5 minutes left on the clock then. We're ticking down towards half race distance. Arthur Way does have a contact warning from that first lap, so that would have been on his re-overtake on Alex Gaskin after the lead was stolen away at the first couple of corners. Gaskin getting a good exit off of Midgets, but not close enough to think about it into Climber. And both these two putting a bit of a gap between themselves and Daniel Barton now, so it's quickly becoming a 2-horse race out in the lead. I just want to see if I can double check the results from earlier. Gaskin all over the back of Way then once again as I head through into sector number 2. So let's have a look then. Honda Cadets. Oh, my internet's going to play up now, isn't it? Fantastic. You love to see it. So Alex Gaskin was P6 in heat number 1. Then P2 in heat number 2 for Gaskin. And then heat 3. Whereabouts is our Honda heat 3? And then he was P2 again in heat 3. So a little bit off the pace in the first heat of the day. But Gaskin has been on it ever since. He's been the closest challenger to Arthur Way. But I think Arthur's just managed to get out ahead early enough on where he can break the toe and push on ahead by himself. That, of course, now in these races where we don't have the random grids, the drivers who are faster are going to be at the front of the order from the start of the race. And that's just meant Arthur Way hasn't been as easily able to press on ahead at the front of the field. Race 25 of the day this is, ladies and gentlemen. We've been treated to some fantastic action out on circuit, and that doesn't seem to be letting up anytime soon. They're still pressing on through this lap. Somehow Way is still ahead of Gaskin, but again they're not letting this battle up at all. And now Daniel Barton is starting to become under pressure here from Seth Jones. Oliver Spence wasn't quite able to hold on behind him, but still driving a nice race in behind. Drivers going side by side in the background. Is this Keeley and Banks? I think potentially they're still side by side heading through Johnny's. The 41 holds on to it, so that is, yeah, Keeley holding on to 7th place ahead of Tyler Banks. And they've got Oliver Ratton and James Devereaux for company as well. A nice little 4-way battle, that is, for 7th place. Less than 4 minutes left to go on the timing screen now. And it's all still exciting at the front, but I'm just waiting to see if Alex Gaskin can, 1, get close enough to go for the move, and 2, have the confidence and aggression to pull the trigger and go for it. Let's wait and see if he can do anything about Arthur Way's domination here at the Forest Edge Kart Club. Seth Jones now right on the rear bumper of Daniel Barton, so a potential change here for a podium place. Because, of course, don't forget, still a top 3 in a final. If you're in the top 3, you're still going home with a trophy here. Even if it's not the Southern Champs plate, it's still a trophy to add to the cabinet. And Seth Jones will be wanting another one of those. He looks like he's already got one of those down the inside into Midgets. It was a poor exit off of the bus stop chicane there for Daniel Barton. And Seth Jones grabs that opportunity with both hands, sides his way up into the top 3. Less than 3 minutes on the clock now of this first final of the day. Confirmed on your timing screen then, Seth Jones through on Daniel Barton. but it's still Way leading Gaskin as they head through lap number 10. They had identical lap times on the last lap. Both Arthur Way and Alex Gaskin setting a 48.64. So he is right there, is Alex Gaskin. It's just when and where an opportunity might arise here. He needs Arthur to make a little mistake and open the door somewhere. But we know Arthur Way can be just so on it. Very rare for Arthur to make any sort of mistake. Metronomic, that's the word I was looking for. Arthur Way is absolutely metronomic in terms of his pace. And again, 48.68 for Way, 48.67 for Gaskin. Doesn't get much closer than that. However, Alex needs it to be even closer for him to go for a move here again. Line astern through the bus stop chicane. Will this opportunity materialise for Alex Gaskin? Less than a minute and a half left to go here in the first final of the Southern Championships here at Forest Edge. I will say, and behind, to be fair, Seth Jones got past Daniel Barton, but he certainly hasn't dropped him. Daniel Barton still holding right onto the back of Seth Jones, so there's still a battle on here for the last podium spot. And then it's Oliver Spence on the 50, sitting a bit of no man's land in 5th. And then is that big gaggle behind. Now 5 karts involved, headed up by Tyler Banks in 6th place. Behind Tyler is Alfie Allen, Stanley Curley, James Devereaux and Oliver Ratton. So that's all switched around ever so slightly. Stanley, I think, has lost 1 or 2 places. James Devereaux's gained a couple, I believe, up to 9th place. So it's still all chopping and changing throughout the order. Poor exit there off of midgets for Arthur Way. I don't think, again, it's going to be quite enough of a mistake for Gaskin to make the most of it. He gets so close to this final corner, though, so I can see a move being on there. It's just being close enough on the exit of the prior corner of Clymer to set up that move and try and force the door open. I'm watching with my eyes on stalks at the moment, waiting for that move to happen from Alex Gaskin. Timer ticks below 10 seconds. Next time Arthur Way and Alex Gaskin come around the final corner, they will see the last lap board here, and then they'll have 1.1 kilometres to duke it out, and we'll see who gets to take the Southern Champs plate home with them. Good exit off of the bus stop chicane for Alex Gaskin once again, but Arthur Way doing everything that he needs to hold on to this lead for now then. Oh, it was a bit argy-bargy there in the last corner. It was deep once again from the 23 of Alex Gaskin. Makes a bit of contact on the back of Arthur Way, but not too much. They both continue on. No harm caused there, at least to Arthur Way. Might have been a bit of harm caused to Alex Gaskin, though, as that's just dropped him a little bit of momentum heading through the first sector. I'm not sure here if an opportunity is going to arise for Alex Gaskin. It looked like a possibility that Arthur Way might be knocked down here, might be stopped from another perfect day here at Forest Edge. It's the all-important round 4, the Southern Championships. Arthur Way has been perfect at round 2, round 3. He's been perfect so far at round 4. Round the final corner they're going to come, and it will be Arthur Way who wins the Southern Champion. Wow. First final of the day done and dusted. Arthur Way's your Southern Champion. Look at that across the line. Did you see that on the cameras? Seth Jones and Daniel Barton side by side for 3rd place. And Seth Jones just pips Daniel Barton to that 3rd place by 0.05 of a second at the line there. And Daniel Barton hits his steering wheel with frustration. But what a race between those two as well. Alex Gaskin, fantastic pace throughout that race. Just couldn't quite find a way past. And that metronomic nature of Arthur Way's driving couldn't find a chink in the armour, could Alex Gaskin, and Arthur Way takes the Southern Championship plate for himself. Oliver Spence finishes the top 5 with Tyler Banks, Stanley Kearley, Alfie Allen, Oliver Ratton and James Devereaux your top 10. And it was Alex Roach, Max Craven, Connor Yu and Henry Duncan your last finisher. Sadly, we lost Kobe Wood on lap 7 of that one, just before the final corner. So sadly for Kobe Wood, didn't see the checkered flag in that one. But your first Southern Champion of 2024 has been crowned. Arthur Way, the number 47, is your Honda Cadet 160 Southern Champion. Next race, race 26, the Rotax Cadet Final, where we will be crowning another Southern Champion. Out of the pits comes our next final. Then on circuit are the Rotax Cadets. It's Elijah West who lines up on pole position for this one. Another driver who's very impressive here at the Forest Edge Kart Club. He's only got 2 points from today, so I think only one race, so he's not won. And that lines him up on the pole position. Sadly, oh, he's got back underway again as the number 30. So that was Ellis Honey. Of course, Ellis Honey didn't make it to the start of heat number 3. Ellis has almost not made it to the start here of the final. Parked it up immediately out of the pits, but has got it going once again. Matthew Lilly lines up alongside Elijah West on the front row, with Ethan Coupland and Dewey Hotridge on row 2. Travis Giddings and Oakley Riggs there on row 3. Great to see a novice as well with Travis there on row 3. Toby Biggs and Freya Bond are on row 4. Pierce Taylor and Jack Blackman on row 5. Ellis Honey and Rhea Peacock on row 6. Ronnie Faulkner and Mason Munzer row 7. Edison Burrows and Arthur Kaiser on row 8. With Kieran Ranger, Oscar Richards and Max Tomsit rounding out your 19 kart grid for this one. So again, similarly to Elijah West, as we've got a false start immediately here for the Rotax Cadets. They'll be going round again. It's Elijah West who... I know it's in, I was going to say in the driving seat of this one. He literally is, given the fact he's on pole position, but also for the fact of he has really been the dominant performance throughout the season so far, really, in the Rotax Cadets. Let's have a quick gander. Oh dear, my sheet has somehow messed up quite considerably here in my notes. Let's try and have a look here at the Rotax Cadets. So it's Ethan Coupland who is the current championship holder. Elijah West wasn't at round 1, got disqualified at round 2, but won pretty much everything at round 3. Let's see if he can win the Southern Championship here. We're underway in racing. He holds the lead down the outside as Elijah West, and down into the first corner, it'll be Elijah who leads us through lap 1, but Matthew Lilly and Ethan Coupland very close in behind. Into Johnny's we go, and one driver gets almost nerfed out wide. Great control there from Travis Giddings to hold on to that one. Tyre rubbing there, went up in the air, did Travis, but applied those brakes, kept it on the black stuff and carried on. He's going to have lost a few positions from that one, but either way, he continues on with this race. Now, he's just been given a contact warning, so Travis deemed as the one at fault there for the bit of contact. He definitely lost out enough there from the bit of rubbing. And I think he's dropped down to potentially around the bottom end of the top 10. Elijah West is going to lead us through into the final corner then. Matthew Lilly still in second. Ethan Coupland still in third. But Dewey Hockridge, Oakley Riggs right there with them. The 24 Freya Bond not far off either. And then pretty much the rest of the field come through to play as well. 48.2 on that last lap, on the first lap of the race for Elijah West. So he's kicked this race off as he means to go on then, has Elijah. Already extending the gap by about half a second on this first lap alone. Let's see as they come into the bus stop chicane. They'll come back into your camera shot as well. And already, what's that? 2 or 3 kart lengths for Elijah West at the front of the order. And he's looking to see exactly what they're doing in behind. That was a very late opportunistic move there from Dewey Hockridge. It doesn't work out. And luckily, manages to keep out of the side pod of, is that Matthew Lilly? It is. They come together at the final corner. Oakley Riggs gets into the side of the 78 of Dewey Hockridge and shakes his hand afterwards as well. I think his front right wheel made contact with the rear left of Dewey Hockridge and potentially just turned the steering wheel a little bit there. So Oakley now nursing a bit of a wrist injury from that one. Just extending it as he headed around around the first sector. Making sure he's all okay. Oakley pressing on again in 5th place. We've seen Oakley get a P2, I want to say, earlier on in the heats. He's right up there at the sharp end in the top group. But with that bit of argy-bargy between himself and Dewey Hockridge, they dropped ever so slightly off of Matthew Lilly and Ethan Coupland in 3rd and 2nd respectively. But both those drivers continue to drop off of the back of Elijah West. Elijah checks over his shoulder as he heads under the gantry. And he knows he's building a nice gap here. Very close on pace between Coupland and Lilly. Coupland did a 47.78 on the last lap, a 47.77 for Lilly, but it was a 47.68 for Elijah West. Again, extends another 1/10 of a second gap over his fellow competitors at the front of the field. And barring anything going drastically wrong here, I think Elijah has got this pretty much wrapped up. Just needs to get in a rhythm with things, keep putting this pace in. And I'm not sure whether Coupland and Lilly will have anything to answer. Oakley Riggs still all over the back of Dewey Hockridge here as they head through into the last sector. Was close enough, but not quite close enough for a move. Oakley Riggs, he's trying it around the outside, though he's still on the outside through the first corner. Now that turns to the inside for the hairpin 2. And he now holds it. I don't know why I said hairpin, it's nowhere near a hairpin. The second corner right-hander, though, Oakley Riggs gets it done. That was well placed there from Oakley Riggs. As the outside became the inside, he planned that perfectly and takes 4th place for himself around the Haynes Loop. Fair play to Oakley Riggs, pressing on well, now in 4th place. Freya Bond was right there with them trying to get involved, and she'll be trying to pick up the pieces that have been lost there by Dewey Hockridge. I'm sure we'll see Freya applying some pressure. And there we do see Freya applying some pressure down into Climber. The number 24, that is. Pressing on around the final corner. And now seeing if she can make a move at the same place into Haynes Loop. Not quite close enough this time. These four batting at it as well down into Haynes Loop. There you go. But who is that? That's there's quite a few drivers actually. Ronnie Faulkner, Pierce Taylor, Rhea Peacock, Mason Munzer. That's your four who are nose to tail. And then Kieran Ranger, Ellis Honey and Edison Burrows. Not far off at all. It's only really Oscar Richards, sadly, in 17th place, who finds himself all on his own. Same with Max Thomson as well. He's just crossed the line as well in 18th place. Arthur Kaiser, it seems we lost him on the last lap, though. I'm not sure where he's gone off. I can see down on the exit of the bus stop chicane, between bus stop and midgets, there is a cart that's come to a halt, so I think we can assume that that is Arthur Kaiser. Sadly for Arthur, not going to be seeing the checkered flag here in the final. That's going to be quite a few points lost for him, sadly. 34, Ronnie Faulkner, still doing a good job to defend here. Ronnie's defending his 10th place. Rio Peacock all over the back of his cart, but Rio also has the drivers behind to think about. Pierce Taylor, Mason Munzer, Kieran Ranger, Ellis Honey, Edison Burrows. They've all closed in even more than they were previously. Second and third also very close now, as Coupland has got through on Matthew Lilly on the last lap. Lilly, I think, is trying to find a way back through now. Yes, he is on the 20. Bit of a wide moment there for Coupland. It's a better exit for Matthew Lilly. He's going to have to send it to the inside, though, and he's not going to go for it this time down at Haynes Loop. So sits in behind once again. Now, the drivers in behind are really close on pace to Elijah West. Less than a tenth of a second off per lap, but he's just got that extra little bit every single lap and continues to build out that gap in the lead of the race. 1.5 seconds it was when they crossed the timing beam last time. So Elijah West still doing everything he needs to do here at the front of the order. Again, Matthew Lilly really close to the back of Ethan Coupland, but just thinking better of a cheeky move. We've got the leaders, though, coming up onto the back mark of the 16 and Max Thomson. So Elijah West needs to deal with this in a swift but managed fashion here. They're coming through into Johnny's. Blue flags are out for the number 16. And to be fair, luckily for Elijah West, he's found him as they go straight onto a straight piece of tarmac. Just going to help things. We'll see if Coupland and Lilly can get through quite as easy. They'll be catching the back marker just as they head down into Winger's Dip, which might be a little bit more challenging to get a move done cleanly without losing time. And that could once again benefit Elijah West. They've all made it through now on Max Thomson. Still as they were, though, Coupland ahead of Lilly, I do believe. Yes, indeed, still as they were. Gap still remaining quite similar. To be fair, on the last lap, they did close in by about a tenth and a half. I think Elijah West just getting in a nice rhythm. To be fair, they all are. 47.62 for Elijah West and Ethan Coupland. A 0.64 for Matthew Lilly. So the top three within 0.02 of a second of each other on that last lap. There is that next gaggle. It's all sort of elongated now between those groups. I think, Rio Peacock's got to the front of it on the 66 in 10th place. Mason Munzer's got ahead as well to 11th. Ronnie Faulkner's dropped into 12th place. Now Ronnie Faulkner and Pierce Taylor are very close to each other battling. Then Ellis Honey, Kieran Ranger and Edison Burrows are a bit of a three-way battle for 14th, 15th and 16th respectively. 3 minutes left to go on the clock, then there's 11-minute plus 1 lap final. Still, second and third, absolutely going at it, but still not closing in on Elijah West. He's gained another 0.2 on that last lap as Elijah. Lots of contact warnings coming through in this race, though I will say. We've got 1 for Travis Giddings, 2 for Matthew Lilly, 3 for Oakley Riggs, 1 for Kieran Ranger, 1 for Mason Munzer and 1 for Edison Burrows. So quite a few drivers just needing to be a little bit careful through the rest of this Rotax Cadet final. Into climate go the leaders once again. Lilly close but not close enough still for that second place. Do they go on to lap number 11 then? There's the 31 through your shot of Oakley Riggs, all by his lonesomes. There's Dewey Hockridge, Jack Blackman and Freya Bond now 5th, 6th and 7th respectively. And it's Jack Blackman who's applying the pressure on Dewey Hockridge now. Last time we looked at that battle, it was Freya Bond who was the one applying the pressure, but clearly just couldn't quite get through. Jack Blackman has now slipped past Freya Bond and now is hounding Dewey Hockridge for 5th place. We've got another driver stopped on the exit of the bus stop chicane. Try and spot who that is who's not come round to finish a lap, but they're looking to be getting up and out of the cart, so that's a driver out of this race. And just hot-footing it to the middle of the track and out of harm's way. That gap now between Elijah West, Coutland and Lilly, 2.5 seconds the gap. As I've mentioned time and time again, Elijah West, very mature drive from such a young driver. Just eking out that gap ever so slightly, lap on lap. That last lap was actually the biggest he's extended it for the entire race. Nearly 0.6 of a second that was that he's gained there. No, nearly 0.7 of a second he's gained on that last lap alone for Elijah West. So, if he wasn't already in the driving seat for this win here and to take this Southern Championships SC plate for his kart, he's very much is now. 45 seconds left to go on the timing screen, so we'll be going on to the penultimate lap of the race, only just. Still, Lilly unable to find a way past Coutland, as now he might look for it though, down into Haynes Loop. He does go down the inside, they just about give each other enough room, side by side through the Haynes Loop, and there you go, Matthew Lilly gets it done after laps and laps of waiting there for the perfect opportunity. He goes through it, does Matthew Lilly, and he takes 2nd place back for himself. Oakley Riggs is continuing to close in on those two, and that would have helped a little bit with them two battling. Oakley would have gained a decent amount of time there. But as I say, the timer is ticking down. The last lap board is being prepared at the moment. And Elijah West is coming around the final corner. He's going to head on to the last lap of this race here. And the number 99 is in absolute prime position here to hold on to the Southern Championship. Matthew Lilly trying to defend from Ethan Coutland around the Haynes Loop, and he's just about managed to close the door on the exit here. Through Johnny's, those two go. So although they won't be taking home a Southern Championship plate, you're still battling for big points in the championship here. You're still battling for some trophies as well. Now Ethan Coutland is in the championship lead at the moment. Matthew Lilly, whereabouts is Matthew Lilly in the championship? He's down in 8th place at the moment as he missed the first round of the season. So this is big for Coutland to try and get maximum points. Here is your Southern champion though in Rotax Cadet. What a win for Elijah West. Again, a dominant day for the number 99. Across the line, side by side for 2nd and 3rd though. And Matthew Lilly just pips Ethan Coutland to that 2nd place by 0.07 of a second. Great battling there between Lilly and Coutland, but it just about goes the way of Matthew Lilly. But hats off to Elijah West. Another perfect, well, pretty much perfect. I think there was one race earlier today where he didn't win. I think he came 2nd. But apart from that, Elijah West showing, again, another mature drive. And that's the Southern Championship, his, for 2024. Oakley Riggs did a good job there of chasing down 2nd and 3rd. He was right on the back of them. If he only had had one more lap, potential for a podium there for Oakley Riggs, but sadly, it wasn't meant to be, and he's going to settle for 4th place. Dewey Hockridge rounds out the top 5 with Freya Bond, Jack Blackman, Travis Giddings, Toby Biggs, and Rio Peacock there in your top 10. Well done to Travis Giddings. I remember he was the one that nearly went off the circuit on the first lap of that race. So fair play to climbing back to 8th place. Then it was Mason Munster in 11th, Ellis Honey, Pierce Taylor, Roddy Faulkner, Kieran Ranger, Edison Burrows, and Oscar Richards last year finishers. Sadly, we lost Max Tomsett and Arthur Kaiser earlier on in that race. Rotax Cadet final done and dusted. Then up next, we move on to the slightly bigger boys and girls. It's the Rotax Inter up next for their final. we're about ready to go for the last final. I'm crazy. The third final of the day. As I mentioned, slightly bigger brothers and sisters to the race that we've just seen. Of course, the Rotax Cadets done and dusted. It's the Rotax Inters who now head out on circuit. Let's run you through the grid. Warwick Milam and Fenton Stoneman are on the front row, with Ethan Cousins and Nathan Rond on row 2. Devin Taylor and Daniel Wisnauskas on row 3, with Nate Gange and Konstantin Grastev on row number 4. Arthur Brooker and Freddie Ellingham are row 5. Harrison Stacey, Oliver Dan, and Jacob Jarvis round out the grid for this Rotax Inter final. It's been close all day in the Rotax Inters. 3 or 4 different drivers, so I can see taking the win here. Let's see who it is. We're underway and racing for 11 minutes already. Almost getting squeezed off the circuit there was the number 35 of Warwick Milam. Round the outside, I think, went Fenton Stoneman. And it's all still chopping and changing in the mid-pack. Yellow flag because the driver didn't make it round to the start there. I'm trying to see who that was. It looks like it ends with a 1. I'm just trying to see who it is. Potentially the 71 of Konstantin Krastev. Let's have a look and see if he's in the race. He's not. So it is Konstantin Krastev, who we've lost before the race even starts. That's gutting. Konstantin was getting in some great battles earlier on in the heats, but he won't be seeing the checkered flag, well, let alone the checkered flag. He won't be seeing the starting flag here for this final. The 48 of Fenton Stoneman in the lead of the race then after lap number 1. In behind, though, is the 14, but one of his pipes has come off of his engine. I don't think his radiator is connected at the moment at Devin Taylor. He's got a sizable bit of pipe work flapping off of his radiator. I think Devin Taylor's engine could be going bang within the next few minutes. Yeah. Let's wait and see here. There's another driver spun off on the exit of the bus stop. That'll be Jacob Jarvis then on the 37 who gets it back going. But this could be gutting early on for Devin Taylor. Fastest lap of the race on the last lap for Devin. He started off this race so well, made up a few positions. But there's definitely something wrong with that car. And if we don't see a mechanical flag here, we could potentially see it going boom. Move down the inside for second place, though. It goes from bad to worse for Devin Taylor. He now loses a place on track as Warwick Milam goes down the inside of the final corner. And Warwick Milam goes up into second place. Now the drivers are catching Jacob Jarvis, who of course had that little spin on the first lap, got it back going. But now the drivers are about to catch him once again up into the boot. So this could be interesting as well. Of course, he'll be being shown blue flags, but how well he deals with them is another matter entirely. Leaders try and go down the inside. He does get forced out and he does actually back off. So fair play to Jacob Jarvis there. Really good driving. Gets back in to a gap in the pack where he can, and then I think we'll do the same with the drivers behind. So really, really good driving there from the 37 of Jacob Jarvis to make sure he doesn't get in the way of the leaders battling. Then through Haynes Loop we go. Still line astern for the top 4. Stoneman leading Milam, leading Taylor, leading Cousins. But it was Warwick Milam who was fastest out of those drivers on the last lap. Cousins has the fastest lap of the race. Who's that in behind as well? Nathan Rond on the 67, not far back at all. There's the move for the lead. Warwick Milam back down the inside of Fenton Stoneman, retakes the lead for himself. Devin Taylor trying to find a way through as well, but wasn't quite able to do so. Into the last corner, they do love a move here. Bit of a bump that was from Fenton Stoneman. He doesn't go through though. And Warwick Milam holds on to the lead once again. Devin Taylor, new fastest lap of the race though. This could go any way between these 4 drivers, and if it gets much more feisty, it really could go any way, let alone between these 4. If these all come together, there are plenty of drivers waiting in the wings. Nathan Ron, Daniel Wisnauskas, Nate Gange, Arthur Brooker, all there, relatively close in behind. It's Arthur Brooker in 8th who leads that final train of Arthur, Harrison Stacey, Oliver Dan, Freddie Ellingham. Drivers battling well. Close to the front once more. Side by side. One driver goes wide. Was that Fenton Stoneman who's gone wide? It was. And now gets forced off wide down into climate as well. So Fenton Stoneman drops to 5th place as Nathan Ron slips through as well. So your leader, only 1 or 2 laps ago, gets shuffled wide on the exit of midgets there. Left the sort of door open. Devin Taylor went for it down the inside, shuffled him wide on the exit as, of course, Fenton Stoneman got hung out to dry. And Fenton, off on the dust, loses that momentum, loses time, and loses critical positions now. Finds himself at the back of this 5-car train, and there is still that little gap between Rond and the rest of the three at the front. Warwick Milam did take the fastest lap on the last lap of the race. Taylor and Cousins, their personal best times of the last lap, identical, 44.89. On to lap 6 we go then. The Sodi Kart driver of Warwick Milam still in the driving seat. New fastest lap from Ethan Cousins, though, on the number 17. Team DJR driver pressing on towards that lead. And it was a good half a second quicker than Warwick Milam on the last lap. Just under 4/10 gained by Ethan Cousins. As we've mentioned so many times, it's one thing to catch a driver, it's a whole other thing to get past them. And that's what Ethan Cousins is just struggling with at the moment. Looks as though, no, they haven't switched him behind. It's still Ron leading Stoneman in 4th and 5th place, and they're not closing the gap to the leaders. There's the move for 2nd place, though. Taylor down the inside of Cousins. Taylor still got whatever that piece is attached to his radiator flapping about everywhere. When he goes around every corner, the lateral G-force is throwing this bit of cabling to either side, but clearly it's not a necessity to the engine or the radiator because the kart's still going. He's still setting very quick lap times. So, hey, it's not affecting him too much. He now finds himself in 2nd place. And he's the driver leading the charge to Warwick Milam, but with that move being made, it's given about a 1 or 2 kart length gap to Warwick Milam in the lead, and that's exactly what he needs to try and just get into a rhythm with things and start pressing on at the front of the field. 5 minutes left to go in this Rotax Inter final, and Warwick Milam still leads us into it. I will say as well, great little battle for 6th going on. Daniel Wisnauskas and Nate Gange absolutely nose to tail through that first part of the circuit. They're having a great battle over 6th place. We'll try and keep an eye on how that one's shaping up in the race. As I say that, cheeky move down the inside at the bus stop chicane from Nate Gange. He takes 6th place away from Daniel Wisnauskas. Wisnauskas sends it back up the inside though. Great battle between these two. Nate manages to fend him off, though, at corner exit. And Nate has this position. He takes 6th for himself, as you'll see them come around the final corner now. There is Nate, now ahead of Daniel. Looking back to the leaders, though, it does look as though Devin Taylor and Ethan Cousins have closed in ever so slightly. 44.59 on the last lap from Milan. 44.52 for Taylor. 44.51 for Cousins. Those are the 3 fastest laps of the race so far. All set on the last lap by the 3 leaders. It doesn't get very much more exciting than this, ladies and gentlemen. 3 minutes and 45 seconds left to go on the clock. Contact warning for Devin Taylor as well. He needs to be a little bit careful. In 2nd place there, I can only imagine that was possibly the move for 2nd place when he went past Ethan Cousins a few laps ago. And Fenton Stoneman has managed to make it past Nathan Rond in the last lap or 2. And now he's really got his work cut out for him to chase down the 3 in front that he was heading that train only 5 or 6 laps ago. And now he's struggling to catch back up to it. He's about 1.5 seconds off of that train of 3. But now he's been freed from Nathan Rond. Will he close in that sort of 10th and a half gap in pace that he has to those top 3 who continue to extend their lead ever so slightly? Realistically, he needs them to start fighting as early as possible. That doesn't look like it's going to happen though. Warwick Milam leads us on to lap number 11 of this race, with just less than 3 minutes left to go on the clock. Line astern through the Haynes loop into Johnny Say Go. And Nathan Rond is looking very, very close. That's Nathan Rond. Sorry, Nathan, you're in 5th place. My apologies. Devin Taylor was the one looking very, very close through Johnny's, but I'm not sure if he was close enough to go for a move. He does go for a move at the bus stop chicane. They nearly make contact there as Milam clips the back end of Devin Taylor's kart, nearly goes up and over the back of it, lands again, but he lands in 3rd place. Through slips Ethan Cousins. So now Ethan Cousins in 2nd. The 14 of Devin Taylor takes the lead of the race. On to lap 12 we go, and now with that bit of battling, look who's closed in. It's Fenton Stoneman and Nathan Rond, quickly making this 3-way battle a 5-way battle for the lead of the race. Down into Winger's Dip as well. Again, Ethan Cousins all over the back of Devin Taylor. Will he try and replicate what Taylor did on the last lap into the bus stop? He's not quite close enough to send one down the inside as Ethan Cousins. 1.5 minutes left to go then, of course, plus 1 lap. And when we get to the end of that timer, we'll be crowning the Southern champion in Rotax Inter. Who is it going to be? It could be any one of these 5 drivers. They're so close on pace out there, and all are fighting tooth and nail to grab this SC plate for themselves. Currently, first time in this race, it's Devin Taylor who's in that driving seat at the front of the field, and currently getting pushed around by Ethan Cousins, which is a nice benefit. That might not be so nice in a lap or two's time when Ethan starts to think, my opportunities are dwindling here for this SC plate that I'd like to take home. There he goes, down the inside, late on the brakes then, into midgets. And Ethan Cousins now has the lead of the race here for the first time in this Rotax Inter final. 30 seconds left to go on the timer. This will be the penultimate lap of the race. And once again, Devin Taylor finds himself in second place. He's been in second for a huge amount of this race. Led a couple of laps there. But now Ethan Cousins shovels him back to P2. Battle still going on up and down the order. Wisnauskas now the one chasing Ganj. But they're a little bit too far away, think about moves. Brooker versus Stacey going on for 8th place as well. Same with Dan versus Ellingham for 10th place. Battles through the order, but we've got to keep watching these top 5. And funnily enough, Taylor now under a bit of pressure from Milan. This could be exactly what Ethan Cousins needs here. Round the final corner they come. Time has hit 0. It's the final lap of the Rotax Inter final. And look at that, from the kart placement there through the first couple of corners, Devin Taylor is more thinking about Warwick Milan behind him than he is Ethan Cousins ahead. He just placed that kart into Haynes Loop in the middle of the track, not allowing for Milan to think about a move, and that's just given that little bit of extra opportunity to Cousins to continue pushing on ahead. He's got 2 or 3 kart lengths into the bus stop chicane here. Ethan Cousins, I don't think he's won a race yet today, but Ethan Cousins has had a great race in this final. We've seen almost all of these top 5 in the lead at some point, but Cousins has got into it when it matters. He's got a massive gap round the final corner. It's going to be Ethan Cousins who takes the win in the Rotax Inter final and takes the Southern Championship for himself. He's the Southern champion here at Forest Edge for 2024 in the Rotax Inter class, and he sets the fastest lap of the race on the last lap. If there's anything to show that you deserve that race win, it's doing exactly that. Fair play to Ethan Cousins on the number 17, deserving of that SC plate on his kart. Devin Taylor and Warwick Milan are your top 3. Devin Taylor probably feels a little bit robbed there at the end of the race, but a great battle nonetheless between himself and Cousins, and he should be very happy with that P2. And Milan there leading for a long time. Just a bit of argy-bargy, send him back to 3rd, and he couldn't quite claw back that lead. Fenton Stoneman and Nathan Rond, your top 5, with Nate Ganj, Daniel Wisnauskas, Arthur Brooker, Harrison Stacey, Oliver Dan, Freddie Elliam, and Jacob Jarvis, your 12 finishers in that race. Rotax Inter final is done and dusted then. We've got 4 more races today here at round 4 of the Forest Edge Kart Cup in 2024. Up next, it's the Senior Rotax Final. 23 karts in the grid, and I have a sneaking suspicion we might not see 23 at the checkered round. Don't go anywhere, folks. Here we go then, it's time to crown the Southern champion in Senior Rotax. And who else but the current defending Southern champion in Senior Rotax to take the pole position. Ben Ballou lines up at the front with Matt Jones alongside him. Row 2 has Bobby Rozier and Ethan Lomax. And it's Kieran Ives and Michael Pugh on row 3. Rufus Flan and Blake Tysers are on row 4, with Dominic Cousins and George Hulme on row number 5. Sam Harrison and Toby Case are on row 6, with Elliot Rice and Liam Nate on row number 7. Bradley Howes and Oliver Smith are on row 8, with Luke Evans and Alex Warnby on row number 9. Ben Hicks and Aaron Asarkas round out the top 20 there on row 10, with Matthew Lambert, Aidan Blair and Emily Davidson, your 23 karts starting this race. Now, as I mentioned prior to the drivers heading out the pits, I can't imagine we're going to see all 23 making it to the checkered flag here. I don't want to jinx it. I hope everyone has a nice time and gets to the end of the race. But it is senior Rotax. Let's see what happens. Can Ben Ballou hold on to his SC plate? Not too long to wait and see. And he gets... Oh, no, he doesn't get a good start. He doesn't get a good start. Chevron flag is out. I thought that was a little bit too good of a start there from Ben Ballou. He had a great jump off the line. I thought it had been given clear, and that would have been the start of all starts of Ben Ballou, but sadly, he's going to have to go around again and give that another go. Chevron flag out. Okay, right. Just been told by Michael Parsons that apparently the Southern champion is not the first to cross the line in the final. Lovely. That's what I've just been told.
Yeah, it's true. It's worked out all the points because it's not being on over 2 days.
Right.
So it will be the points for all their leagues down there 5 rounds.
Right, okay, well, there's your update, ladies and gentlemen. It's not whoever wins this final, it's whoever gets the most points over the day. So I can't tell you who takes the win. I'll have no idea, because I'm not working out all the points in here in the comms box. So there you go, I'm afraid. That kind of takes away the excitement a little bit. Right, we've got a senior Rotax race underway. Somehow they're all making it through the first section of the circuit. And somehow, all the drivers have made it through. Fair play. Ben Ballou still leading the race, though. Or has Matt Jones managed to get through? I think he has. So through Sector 2, Matt Jones has got ahead of Ben Ballou. Impressive stuff when they start the race. They were very close on points heading into this race. But this should be very interesting between at least these two. But they're dragging a lot of drivers with them as well. Bobby Rozier, Ethan Lomax, Kieran Ives, Michael Pugh, Blake Tysers, Rufus Flan, all in that first group. Same as Dominic Cousins, to be fair. The top 9 all in their train. Then it's basically 10th backwards, all in their own train as well. Through the bus stop chicane they go. Still line astern. Move down the inside. That's got to be for 7th place, I think. Rufus Flan through on Blake Ticehurst. And as Rufus had set his personal best Sector 1 there, doesn't surprise me. Move down the inside for 2nd place, though. What's happened to your SC plate? Ben Ballou has lost out through that second part of the last lap. He's down to 5th place, I believe. Timing waiting to update. There we go. Ethan Lomax is in 2nd, Rozier in 3rd, Ives in 4th, and Ballou in 5th across the line. So something's gone awry. He was about a second and a half off of the pace on the last lap. So whether he's been shuffled out wide or what's happened there, I'm not sure. But it was Ethan Lomax who went down the inside of Bobby Rozier at the final corner. Bobby Rozier repays the favour. Down the inside he goes, this time up at midgets. This is perfect for Matt Jones. He's already creating a huge gap at the front of the field. Side by side in the background, and one driver goes straight into the back of the drivers ahead. Was that Ben Ballou? No, it's the 25, and everyone's getting up and involved with each other. 17 getting chucked out wide. Where is Ben Ballou? Is he involved? He is. He's in 4th. How have I missed that? He is in there. He's gained a position. My fault. Oh, someone's lost. Someone spun into... their NASA panel is not where it should be. I think we can assume that another driver has gone up over the front there around the Sector 1. But it's all sort of kicked off after a pretty relaxed start for the senior Rotax final. It's all kicked off on lap number 3. New fastest up of the race for Matt Jones. Sees him extend the gap to over 1.7 seconds now. We'll just see who it was. It was Aaron Asarkas. More bad luck for Aaron Asarkas in this final. He had lots of bad luck in heat number 3, and that continues here in the final. Everyone was getting a bit too close to comfort in that first group, and I think that sort of just passed on to the second group as well. And they all got a little bit too feisty on the start of lap number 3. Bradley Howes sets the fastest first sector in 18th place. Again, that's the senior Rotax. The difference between the fastest and slowest driver is so small amongst this field. that it creates unbelievable racing. But what a race it's been so far for Matt Jones. That gap's going to be over 2 seconds this time around. Over the start-finish line he goes to start lap number 5. Here's the 32 of Ethan Lomax in second place. Almost 2 seconds, that gap between the front two. Lomax has Baloo right behind him once again, and Roja now at top 4. There's a very slight gap then back to Kieran Ives, Michael Pugh, Rufus Lamb, Blake Ticehurst, Dominic Cousins, George Hume. The whole rest of the field there in behind still. Through the last sector they come then. Quite a few drivers getting contact warnings. They've got to be a little bit careful here. Blake Ticehurst has got 1, so has Rufus Fan and Toby Case. Dominic Cousins has got 2 at the moment. Dominic needing to be very careful. He's just gained a place on that last lap into 8th place, and he's just got the fastest lap of the race. First driver into the 40s, a 40.96 for Dominic Cousins. And he's having a great race so far, up to P8, fastest lap of the race, but he has got a couple of contact warnings. Mechanical flag out for Aaron Asarkas. That'll probably be for the his nose cone that was rather awry from where it should be. There's a move down the inside up at midgets. That's for 7th place, that is. So that's Dominic Cousins through again, this time on Rufus Flan. Dominic Cousins on the number 17 is absolutely flying here. And now he's catching up to the back of one of his teammates, I believe. That of Michael Pugh on the 76. Currently there in 6th place. Dominic Cousins now trying to chase him down. The gaps at the front in terms of pace. Everyone is so close together in the whole top 7. Everyone is within 0.05 of a second of each other on that last lap in terms of lap times. However, it's perfect for Matt Jones because he already built out nearly 2 seconds early on in this race. So if he can just hold to what is pretty much the same pace as the drivers behind him, he can sit pretty happy here. Now, he can't let off at all. He can't sit on his laurels and relax. Starts to drop a 10th or 2 off, and they'll be on him in 5 or 6 laps. But equally, if he can just keep this pace, keep pressing on, keep doing what he's doing, it's looking pretty good for Matt Jones. Dominic Cousins, 40.88 fastest lap of the race. He's just done a 40.89. So not only is this fastest lap pace, this is consistent fastest lap pace from Dominic Cousins in this race. He's chasing down that pack up ahead. But look at this, Lomax under a bit of pressure here. Or has Ben Baloo already got through? He has already gone through. So Ben Baloo up into 2nd place then earlier on lap number 8. And the LN branded driver now takes the fastest lap of the race as well. Just as I say that, Dominic Cousins goes even faster. It was a 40.87 for Baloo, 40.83 for Cousins. Number 17, still about 6-7 tenths of a second off of Michael Pugh in 6th place. Because although he's going ridiculously quickly consistently, it's still only a 10th or 2 a lap quicker than the drivers around him because everyone is so close on pace. Through the final corner comes your leader then, Matt Jones. Still commanding this race. It was just over 2 seconds last time they came through under the gantry. Drops a little bit this time. 1.9 seconds now the gap. As both Baloo and Lomax go a little bit faster than Matt Jones. Of course, we saw Aaron Asarkas get that mechanical flag earlier on in the race. It seems as though a few laps before that, we sadly lost Emily Davidson as well on lap number 3. Didn't quite see what happened to Emily. And I can't see out my window anyway, a stricken car. So potentially she is somewhere on the circuit. Or potentially in the pits already for Emily Davidson. But she won't be seeing the checkered flag in this race, sadly for her. On to lap number 11 we go. Only one change in the order on that lap. George Hulme has been overtaken by Ben Hicks. Ben Hicks through into 11th place. But as it just settles in here in the senior Rotax final, it has been a very subdued senior Rotax final. Usually the drivers are going hammer and tong, barely any space given, and it all goes a little bit crazy. But hey, in this one, Matt Jones has sighed through at the front of the order early on, and I think all the other drivers realising, okay, we need to chill here a bit, because if we don't crack on with things and work together here, then there's not a chance any of us are going to get Matt Jones. But I think even with the working together, they're not closing in fast enough on Jones to make it worth it. But Jones set a personal best on the last lap of a 40.93. Baloo was still a tenth of a second faster, matching his fastest lap of the race, which matches the fastest lap of the race overall of a 40.83. Tenth of a second faster than Jones, still closing in ever so slightly, but only just over 2 minutes left to go on the clock. Round the final corner they come once again, and the 87 still commanding this race. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to work out on points at the end of this one in terms of the Southern Championship, because there was only 1 point difference going into this race between Jones and Baloo. Baloo was on 13, Jones was on 14. Now, I think if I remember correctly, it's 0 points for a win and 2 points for a second place. Now, if that's true, then it'll mean that Matt Jones just pips Baloo to it by 1 point. So that will be very exciting. However, I'm not going to call any more Southern Champs, because I don't want to get the maths wrong and then call it someone else and it's actually wrong. So make sure you're heading to results.alphatiming.co.uk/FEKC. See those full finalised results, and that'll also show you who has taken the Southern Championship in 2024 for all of the classes racing today. 1 minute on the timer then. There is Matt Jones back into your main camera shot. Through the final corner he comes. And again, last lap was pretty much identical times between himself and Baloo. Baloo that time a little bit faster, but again, we're still talking about hundredths of a second here. Nothing in the way of closing down that gap to the leader. Now, 30 seconds on the clock at the moment. I'm not sure what it was on the clock as Matt Jones crossed the line, because it takes about 40-41 seconds for them to get round another lap. I think potentially this will be the penultimate lap of the race, but it's going to be close. What a race from Matt Jones. This has been so impressive. He's had a great day so far today, racking up some really good finishing positions, and it's all come to a head here in the final. He's going to get across the line with 1 second left to go, is Matt Jones. So now he leads us on to the penultimate lap of the race. Bobby Rozier, Kieran Ives and Michael Pugh still very close together. They're battling over 4th, 5th and 6th place respectively. In behind, Rufus Flan and Dominic Cousins are together as well. And then Blake Ticehurst and Elliot Rice, very close. 0.2 of a second between them as they crossed the line that last time. So that's still a good little battle there for the bottom end of the top 10 as well. Blake in 9th, Elliot in 10th at the moment. Last lap board being prepared. And Matt Jones is going to be the first one to see it. The number 87 leads us on to the last 1.1 kilometres of this senior Rotax final. There's a move down the inside of Johnny's. Is always a scary one. I think that was Michael Pugh down the inside of Blake Ticehurst. Oh, sorry, Blake Ticehurst. Sorry, Blake. You're down in 9th place. It was Michael Pugh through on Kieran Ives, I believe, for 5th place there. Little send to the apex. And luckily, room was given and it worked out a treat. Round the final few corners then, here comes Matt Jones on the number 87. What a race, what a day it's been for Matt Jones. And he takes the win in the senior Rotax final. Great racing there from Matt Jones. Built out that gap early on in that final and said see you later to the rest of the boys and girls he was battling with. A little bit close over the line there between a few of the drivers, a little bit too close to comfort, but either way, we bring the senior Rotax final to a close. Ben Baloo and Ethan Lomax sit there in 2nd and 3rd place, and I think there's potential there for Ben Baloo to maybe have just lost his Southern Championship here in 2024. Bobby Rozier and Michael Pugh round out the top 5 there in the final, with Rufus Flan, Dominic Cousins, Kieran Ives, Elliot Rice and Blake Ticehurst, your top 10. Ben Hicks and Bradley Howes are there in 11th and 12th place. Behind them, Oliver Smith, George Hulme, Luke Evans, Toby Case, Sam Harrison, Matthew Lambert, Liam Nate, Aidan Blair was your last finisher there in that one, because sadly we lost Aaron Asarkas and Emily Davidson earlier on in that race. But that's it then. Senior Rotax final done and dusted. Race 28 of the day done and dusted. We've got 3 more finals left to go. Up next, the 1-7 Rotaxes and the 177 Rotax Masters. Well, as one set of Rotax drivers heads into the pits to finalise their day, another set of Rotax drivers head out onto the circuit. The 177s and the 177 Masters on circuit for their final. It's Chris Thomas of the Masters category who lines up on pole position, with David Simpson, the leader of the 177s, in second place. Oliver Hutchings and Ollie Hancock are on row 2, with Archie Elliott and Lincoln Bailey-Arneson on row 3. Chris Sawyer and Sophie Jeffrey are on row 4, with Colin Davis and Alan Kenyon on row 5. Joshua Pickford and Matt Lear are on row 6, with Oliver Appleby and Daniel Hammer on row 7. Neil Hemming on row 8 with Dennis Tlovetsiak. And it's Daniel Zambo, Gary Cox and Jimmy Galloway. 19 karts on the grid for this one, and a great spread between the Masters and the 177s as well. This is sure to be a brilliant final. 3 left to go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see how this one goes. On to the start we go then. 11 minutes plus 1 lap is underway, and a great start from pole position. I think that was for Chris Thomas. Immediately sides into the lead of the race. Drivers getting a bit too close to comfort though, do Johnny's. One driver gets chucked out wide, just about holds on to it. That was the 15 of Chris Sawyer, who I saw get shoveled out wide there on the exit of Johnny's. Potentially Lincoln Bailey-Arneson, who was sending it on the inside. We'll have to double check when they come round to finish this first lap of racing. Top 4 line astern though as they come through sector 3. I don't think any huge changes at the front of the order. So as they come across the line to finish lap number 1, then David Simpson's very close. David Simpson, potential for a move here in to Haynes Loop. Not quite close enough this time, but Simpson, with that fastest first lap, he's looking good to grab away this win from Chris Thomas. Oliver Hutchings and Archie Elliott are the 2 drivers right in behind. And then a very, very slight gap. Back to Ollie Hancock, Colin Davis, Lincoln Bailey-Arneson, Sophie Jeffrey, Joshua Pickford, Alan Kenyon, your top 10 drivers out on circuit at the moment. Move down the inside for 5th place. That must be Colin Davis going for it on Ollie Hancock. Something hasn't quite worked out there. The side-by-side for 6th. Nearly the 51 that is getting shoveled wide. That is Ollie Hancock, so he's lost out in all of this. Colin Davis slipped through and Lincoln Bailey-Arneson nearly sent him off into the shadow realm. Spin though down the first couple of corners. How have all the drivers managed to miss him there? Great bit of driving from the entire field there to miss the spinning driver. And that was from our leading pack though. So who is it that we've lost? They're back underway and racing, but it was the 71 of Colin Davis, just after setting the fastest lap of the race and overtaking Ollie Hancock for 5th. He spun it down at the Haynes Loop, and Colin Davis drops all the way to the back of the pack. And that's great for Chris Simpson at the front, because now the nearest Masters driver is Ollie Hancock in 6th place. David Simpson still all over the back of Chris Thomas, but still unable to work his way through and find an opening. Archie Elliott in behind, though, in 3rd place, has closed in very nicely. New fastest lap of the race for Archie Elliott. Only 300ths quicker than David Simpson and 500ths quicker than Chris Thomas. But every little helps, as they say at Tesco, and he's pressing on towards the top 2 at the moment. It's not been a great first half of the lap for David Simpson. He has dropped back into the clutches of Archie Elliott at the moment. Archie not quite close enough to go for it down the inside. That's given a bit of breathing room to the Evolution Racing driver of Chris Thomas. The rest of the drivers fly through your camera shot down into the first sector once again. Good little battle headed up by the 51 of Ollie Hancock now as well. He's got Joshua Pickford, Sophie Jeffrey and Alan Kenyon for company. Of course, all of those drivers gaining a position when Colin Davis went for that little spin a lap or so ago. Looks as though Gary Cox is already out of this race. So I saw him hobbling past the comms box a couple of laps ago, and he's no longer circulating. So back into the pits for Gary Cox. Sadly, Gary won't be seeing the checkered flag here in the final at round number 4. That's a late move down the inside of the final corner, maybe a bit too late. They lean on each other. But the 56 can't find a way through. That was Pickford trying to get through on Hancock. Not quite late enough, not quite committed enough, and Ollie Hancock holds on to 6th place, and all that's really done is lose all 4 drivers in that train a little bit of time to the leaders, and they need all the time they can get, given that the driver ahead in 5th place is Lincoln Bailey Arneson, and he's just set the fastest lap of the race. 42.7 for Lincoln Bailey Arneson, so although he's still a few kart lengths off of the top 4, very much don't count him out here if he's going to start putting down lap times like those. 29 of Oliver Hutchings now right on the back of Archie Elliott. Elliott still pressuring Simpson, but still unable to find a way through. And still, that's giving Chris Thomas more and more time to press on at the front of the field here. And he's doing just that. Side by side through Johnny's. That was close. That was the attempt from Archie Elliott, then down the inside, but it didn't work out. They managed to avoid each other through Johnny's. They carry on, but again, giving even more time to your leader of Chris Thomas. I was going to say he grabbed that opportunity previously because he's done a 42.7. That was 2/10 quicker than Simpson in 2nd place on the last lap. Again, Simpson a little bit slow through midgets. I think Elliott's getting a little bit frustrated here in 3rd place. Unable to find the opportunity to go through, and now is being hounded by Oliver Hutchings behind as well. He checks over the shoulder to Archie Elliott. He now knows he's got Hutchings in behind. He goes a little bit defensive down into the Haynes Loop. So Elliott now feeling under a bit of pressure from Hutchings. That maybe takes the spotlight off of David Simpson, at least for a few moments. 9/10 of a second it was between Thomas and Simpson, the start of lap number 7. 42.59 though, new fastest lap of the race for Joshua Pickford. So Lincoln Bailey Arneson, Joshua Pickford and Sophie Jeffrey, 5th, 6th and 7th respectively, all setting very quick lap times at the moment. 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th now, all line astern. Simpson, Elliott, Hutchings, Bailey Arneson. But none of them able to find a way through on David Simpson in 2nd place. There's a move once again at Johnny's. Contact made. That was an attempt from Lincoln Bailey Arneson this time. Tried it down the inside of Oliver Hutchings. A little bit too late into Johnny's. Just about avoid collecting each other, but both losing a bit of time to Simpson and Elliott. Not too much to be fair. They've reasonably closed back up over the rest of this lap. But still, no one able to find a way through on David Simpson in 2nd place. They come through to end another lap of this race. New fastest lap, to be fair, from David Simpson, and that is matched identically by Archie Elliott in 3rd place. Both drivers getting a 42.57 on that last lap, but Archie needs to be a little bit quicker if he wants to find a way past David Simpson. I mean, I know we're on Ministry of Defence land, but David Simpson is showing a masterclass in defence at the moment. Second place still being held by him, but not for much longer. There's the move down the inside, but not committed enough again for Archie Elliott. And back round the outside goes David Simpson. Again ascend, this time in the last corner, very late under the brace. You can tell Archie Elliott's getting frustrated here. Through goes Archie Elliott, through goes Oliver Hutchings. And now down the inside, trying it again is Lincoln Bailey-Arneson. Thankfully pulls out of that one, he was nowhere near close enough. And the 25 of David Simpson, after a fantastic showing of defensive prowess, finally, I think Archie Elliott just gets so annoyed, he just goes, right, I'm just going to put it on the apex here, deal with it. And yeah, they all managed to make it through, but David Simpson, the biggest loser from that little escapade on lap number 9. Once again, through sector number 3. And again, this has just been all perfect for Chris Thomas. He's loving this. He doesn't even know what's going on behind him, but I can tell him it's going perfectly for him at the moment. Bailey-Arneson over the top of someone at the last corner. Him and the 25 of David Simpson. It's all gone wrong for David Simpson then. Holding that second place for ages was David Simpson. Late move down the inside from Bailey-Arneson. He goes up and over the front of the 25. Both of them rejoining the race, but far down the order. And I will say the 25 of David Simpson has some quite severe front nose cone damage, and yeah, pulls straight in the pits does David Simpson. That is gutting for the number 25. I'm very sad to see him out of this race. What a fantastic performance, and what a fantastic show he was putting on for us. Because sadly, out of this race, a little bit too aggressive from Lincoln Bailey-Arneson. He's dropped down to the back of the order as well. Right, still 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go then. Don't count out this battle for the lead. Archie Elliott has just closed in by 0.3 of a second on the last lap alone. Chris Thomas put his personal best in, a 42.65, but a 42.35 from Archie Elliott sees him take the fastest lap of the race so far and sees him close that gap to the leader down to less than 0.8 of a second. That's the closest it's been since about lap 1 or 2, I think, in this race. Minute and 45 left to go on the timer. Round the final corner comes Chris Thomas, and like we said, he's had a relatively as relaxed as a 177 Rotax Kart race can be. He's had a pretty relaxed race, but that might all just start to change in the next 30 seconds to a minute. Let's look at this. Archie Elliott continues to close down the gap. Now remember, Chris Thomas in the lead of this race is in the Masters category, so even if Archie Elliott gets through, well, Archie Elliott, Oliver Hutchings, Joshua Pickford and Sophie Jeffrey, all the rest of the drivers in the top 5 are in the standard 177 class. So Chris Thomas could actually drop down to 5th right now and still technically win the class, but obviously he's a racing driver. He wants to win the whole race, but can he hold on to it? There's the move down the inside at the last corner. Archie Elliott takes it, but back up the inside, tries to hold the 16, but it's going to turn to the outside for the Haynes loop. Through goes Archie Elliott. Tries the switchback, does Chris Thomas, but it doesn't work. Through Johnny's they go. Check over the shoulder for Archie Elliott, and he knows he's got the move signed, sealed, and delivered. But he's still got just over 30 seconds to hold on to it, though. It's not all done there. So what's it been? An 11-minute plus 1 lap final. It's been 10.5 minutes where Chris Thomas has been in the lead. But it only matters in the last 5 seconds where you are, and he's not in the lead anymore. Down to second place goes Chris Thomas, and now he's under loads of pressure from Ollie Hutchings. Ollie Hutchings goes down the inside, and Oliver Hutchings goes into second place then. 12 seconds on the clock as they cross the timing beam, which means we're going to get 2 more laps of this race. But look at that. As soon as Archie Elliott has pressed on ahead of the rest of the field, he's absolutely gone. He's gone like the clappers. And he is now running away with this race at the sharp end of the field. I think it will be a deserved win here. What a performance so far from Archie Elliott. 42.35 fastest lap. No one could get anywhere close to that fastest lap from Archie Elliott. And here he comes down into climber, through into the last corner, and on to the last lap of this race. 29 has made it through. Oliver Hutchings into second place. Chris Thomas now fending off from Joshua Pickford across this last lap. And can the number 16 hold on to an overall podium finish here? He's still sitting pretty in first place in the class, but he's wanting to bring the battle to his younger comrades. And he's doing just that at the moment. Still just about holding on to third place is Chris. Only a few hundredths of a second ahead of Pickford and Jeffrey in fourth and fifth respectively. But here comes Archie Elliott. What a race it's been in the 177s. Lots of ups and downs, but it's mostly ups for Archie Elliott. What a race win. And he gives that winning number one celebration as he crosses the line to all of his adoring fans beside the circuit. Oliver Hutchings is in second place with Chris Thomas, your leader for 99.9% of that race, finishing third place overall, but still the winner in the Masters class. Joshua Pickford will be fourth overall, but third in the 177s. Sophie Jeffrey, fifth overall, fourth in the 177s. Then Alan Kenyon and Daniel Hammett will be the rest of your podium in the Masters, as they finish sixth and seventh respectively. Neil Hemming just missing out on that Masters podium there, eighth overall, with Colin Davis and Chris Sawyer rounding out the top 10. Matt Lear was in 11th with Oliver Appleby, Daniel Zambo, Lincoln Bailey-Arneson there battling back to 14th place overall. Behind him was Dennis Tulevetsiak, and that was your 15 finishers. Sadly, we lost David Simpson when him and Lincoln Bailey-Arneson came together, and we lost Ollie Hancock and Gary Cox earlier on in that race. 177 final done and dusted then. There's only two more finals left to go, and they're sure to be rather exciting. We kick off the next one with the Supercarts, and then to finalise the day, we'll go into the Junior Rotax A final. Supercart final, though, is coming up next. Second to last final of the day then, and the fastest karts head out on circuit. The Supercarts are going to get their 8-minute plus 1 lap final underway. Of course, Supercarts slightly shortened races throughout the day today, and this one 8 minutes plus 1 lap. It'll be 25 of Spencer Chappell who lines up on pole position. Of course, Spencer with a perfect day so far, 0 points on his record, which for Forest Edge is good. You want as little points as possible going into the final. However, can anyone challenge him? That's the question. Spencer Chappell has started from the front, from the middle, from the back. We've seen all three heats, and somehow by the end of lap 1, he's always up in the top 3, if not already in the lead of the race. So can anyone attempt to stop the charge of Spencer Chappell in this race? Well, Ross Cornick is the one lining up alongside him on the front row. He'll be looking to do just that. Harry Morris and Rhys Buckland are on the second row, with Callum Smith and Matthew Duncan on row number 3. Mark Smith and Daniel Buckland are on row 4, with Fraser Everett and Graham Payne. Your top 5 rows there, Ian O'Rourke and Sam Gillis. Then finalise the grid on row number 6 there, your 12 karts will be taking to the start. You can hear the drivers revving their engines outside the window. That is the 25 of Spencer Chappell getting ready to go. Soon we'll get the thumbs up. The drivers will look to the lights. The engine notes will rise. They'll drop those clutches and we'll be underway and racing. 8 minutes plus 1 lap on the clock. Lights go out. Spencer Chappell with an unbelievable start as ever immediately takes the lead of the race. As oh dear, crash already in the first corner. 2 drivers coming together, and I think potentially 2 drivers out of the race then. One clips the back of the other, one goes spinning off into the barriers, and the other looks to maybe have a bit of a terminal problem. That's the number 70 who's limping round. That's Rhys Buckland from 4th place then, who might already be out of this race. And I can't quite tell down at the Haynes Loop who the other driver is that's gone out of this race already. It's a 73, I'm being told, of Matthew Duncan. So, sadly, Matthew and Rhys there coming together. Potentially Matthew going for a bit of an over-eager move there, colliding with the back of Rhys's kart. As have we got, is Harry Morris out of this race already? He is as well. So Harry Morris has pulled to a halt then down at the final corner. You can see that on your cameras, on your screen. He's just to the left of that top camera. Look at that. Reece Buckland has managed to carry on. He's got the kart back going again, and he's lapping now down in 9th place. But lap number 1, and we've got 2 drivers already out of this superkart final. 6.5 minutes to go then as the number 25 of Spencer Chappell crosses the line to start second lap of this race. Can't be, it must be lap number 3. I'm confused. Lap number 3 anyway. Spencer Chappell, 38.7, the fastest lap of the race. Still a good 3/4 tenths of a second quicker than Ross Cornick in second. He's the closest challenger to Spencer Chappell up at the sharp end. 1.1 seconds between them when they crossed the line last time. And then there's a further 3 and a bit seconds back to Mark Smith and Callum Smith in 3rd and 4th respectively. You see on your camera though, Harry Morris sadly trudging his way to the nearest marshal post out on circuit. Out of harm's way, but obviously gutted. His finals come to an end so early on. Another fastest lap than Spencer Chappell then, 38.59. Over 2 seconds in the lead now. I think we were sort of expecting for Spencer Chappell to dominate this final. But with quite a few other challengers close to him on pace in this final, it maybe happened a little bit faster than any of us were expecting. There come the leaders under the gantry once more. The 96 of Mark Smith still there in 3rd place, being chased down by Callum Smith. These 3 having a bit of a battle though. 42 of Daniel Butland, 55 of Fraser Everett, and 32 of Graham Payne. Those 3 karts all line astern as they head through Johnny's, so that's your closest battle out on circuit at the moment. Reece Buckland has got through on Ian O'Rourke for 8th place as well, as Reece Buckland fights his way back through the pack after that difficult first lap, shall we say. He's nearly an entire lap now behind the current leader of Spencer Chappell. And Spencer getting even faster as well. 38.50 is his fastest lap time of the race. Last lap was a 38.58, so only 800 slower than that fastest lap of the race. Not a single other person down in the 38s. We've got most drivers in the 39s. Daniel Butland in 5th, who's in the 40s at the moment, and Ian O'Rourke in the 44s. Watching Spencer Chappell is absolutely fantastic though, as he canes this kart around the circuit on the edge of grip. No fear, flying around at ridiculous speeds. Brilliant to watch these supercars here at Forest Edge. Still that battle for 5th though, headed up by Daniel Buckland. Everett and Payne were close there through the first couple of corners, but not quite close enough. We've crossed over the halfway point of this race now. 3.5 minutes left to go as Spencer Chappell comes round to start a new lap of this race. What's he extended that gap at the front now too? There's Ian O'Rourke coming through. There's the 14, finally, of Ross Cornick. 5.3 seconds now the gap between Spencer and Ross. Still 2.5 seconds between Ross Cornick and Mark Smith in 2nd and 3rd respectively. Still that 3-way battle for 5th going on. Still no moves though in that battle. All following line astern, all very close on pace, but no one going for the moves. And in any other class I'd be saying, oh, you've got to go for it. You've got to just take the chance, have that confidence and go for it. But in these supercars, the closing speed is insane. I don't blame them for not going for the moves. I don't think I would either. Just as I say that, there is a move though. Up at midgets, down the inside goes Fraser Everett. Takes 5th place away from Daniel Buckland. And we do get an overtake in that battle for 5th place. And the 55, fittingly, takes 5th place for himself. As they come through your camera shot now, all confirmed on the timing. .38.24 now the quickest lap from Spencer Chapel. That is ridiculous. And the last lap was a 38.37. What's that one? A 38.62. Consistently in the 38s, when not another driver could even touch the 38s. Yeah, 39.18 for Ross Cornick. The lap before that was a 39.19. So consistently in the low 39s, but Spencer Chapel just has something else in that supercar. He can somehow get those extra 5, 6, 7 tenths of a second out of that car underneath him. 9 laps completed then, a minute and 45 left to go in this Supercar final. And it is looking like it's going to be another perfect day for Spencer Chapel. Of course, the winner in all 3 of the heats earlier on today. Don't those karts just sound mega as well. Fantastic to see them absolutely bombing it around these woodlands here at Forest Edge. Through comes this battle for 5th then. He doesn't look very comfortable in that car, I can't lie, for Fraser Everett. His knees are very high up. So either he needs a bit of a longer seat, or maybe he's just a very tall driver and fitting in any car is a bit of a challenge. Here comes your leader through once again. Now I think I might, as we head through the 2nd or 3rd last lap of the race, we'll give a listen to these supercars as well. As the leader comes through to start a new lap after this one, we'll give you a little bit of audio, because I've been talking enough today. You guys don't need to hear much more of my voice. Of course, I'll be guiding you through the rest of this race in the finals, but I think everyone needs a break from my voice, especially at a time like this. 5th place comes through then, the 55 Fraser Everett, building a nice gap to, I was going to say to Daniel Buckland, but what's happened then? Graham Payne has slipped through, so a mistake for Daniel Buckland there. But here comes the leader. Let's whack up. If I can find the settings, there we go. Right, enjoy the sound of supercars. They are fantastic. There was your leader coming through camera shot. And Spencer Chapel starts the last lap of this race then. Blue flags. Oh, that was a little bit close there. Ian O'Rourke just getting out of the way of the other drivers coming through. Downick just slipping through. He's still there in 2nd place. And Mark Smith still there in 3rd as well. Looking like it'll all stay as it is, as the rest of the drivers head through the camera shot onto the final lap of the race. But what a perfect day for Spencer Chapel. The number 25 rounds the final corner and takes the win in the Supercar final. I think if there's any class I can call there, I think Spencer Chapel might have just won himself the Southern Championship as well, considering he's not finished anywhere but 1st today. So I think we can assume that Spencer Chapel might have sealed himself that SC plate there in the Supercars. Ross Cornick and Mark Smith, your top 3 in that race as they all come across the line to finish that 8 minutes plus 1 lap Super Kart final. Callum Smith finishes in 4th place. Here comes 5th and 6th place. Very close actually as they come to the line. The 55 just holds on to it though. A late charge from Graham Payne there. He has to settle for 6th place with Fraser Everett taking 5th. Here are the 2 Buckland drivers, I believe. Yet the 42 of Daniel comes across the line just ahead of the 70 of Reese Buckland. Ian O'Rourke finishes in 9th place. Sadly, Harry Morris and Matthew Duncan we lost early on in that race. They'll be rescued now by our track staff and get back to the pit lane. Sadly, they won't see the checkered flag in this final, but hopefully we'll see them next month for round 5. And hopefully that time they'll have a bit more luck heading through their Supercar final. Well, that's it then. One more final left to go, and it's the only one where we've had a B final to get 4 more drivers onto the grid for this one, and it's going to be an absolutely bumper grid for this Junior Rotax A final then for round 4 of the Forest Edge Kart Club in 2024. 28 drivers are about to take to the circuit, the maximum we're allowed here at Forest Edge. It's going to be an exciting race. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. The Junior Rotax A final is up next. last final of the day then, ladies and gentlemen. And as I say, before we went away there briefly, this is going to be an exciting one. Junior Max A final, head out of the dummy grid on circuit. Let's have a look at the grid then for this one. Charles Green and Leo Barsterfield. Leo, a novice, lining up on the front row. Dylan Morton and Travis Rose on row 2, with Maxim Smith and Danny May Reid on row number 3. Freddie Worlock and Noah McNicholas are on row 4, with Dalton Hayward and Spencer Trahorn on row 5. Oliver Gussman and Sam Mott on row 6, with Charlie Hume and Jack Price on row number 7. Jamie Rowe and Alexander Colantuno are on row 8, with Harvey Lee Winteridge, Harvey Murden, Jesse Whitmore and Chase Rainsbury rounding out your top 20. Behind them, Levi Sangera, Luca Cook, Lewis Joyner and Tyler Rackham. Your last of 24 who got through into the A final. And then we have our 4 drivers who have been promoted from the B final. Zach Burke, Madison Chappell, Jensen Cox and Adrian Kalemi, before starting from 25th to 28th place, who have come up from that B final. So it looks as though there weren't any penalties added in that B final, because those were the 4 that I remember crossing the line in the top 4 positions. Let's see what they can do from the back of the grid. How crazy is this race going to be? I'm not sure. Not too long to wait and see, though. They're coming round the final corner. It's Charles Green on the 77. Leo Barsterfield on the 91. They take us to the green light here for the Junior Max final. Immediately the 77 chopping across. That's Charles Green taking the lead of the race early on in this one. All getting close through the Haynes loop, but all drivers facing in the right direction as they get to Johnny's. One driver decides he's not going to make it through Johnny's and takes the inroad on the inside of the corner. Probably for the best there, but they're going to have to make sure that they weren't seen as gaining an advantage there. Who's not come round sector 1? Or they have now. Travis Rose from 5th place has lost a lot of positions there, potentially all the way to the back there. He's come through sector 1, 20 seconds. All the rest of the drivers on 13, 14. So he shot right to the back of the pack there. All squabbles going on in the mid-pack. Drivers trying to go side by side down into Climate. Luckily, no one getting shoveled out wide onto the grass, but someone is off on the exit of the final corner, though. And that is a very broken cart there for the 91 of Leo Barsterfield. Leo started on the front row of the grid for this race. 2nd place for the novice driver was so impressive, but he's furious. I didn't see how that actually happened there, but either way, Leo Barsterfield out of this race before lap 1 even comes to a close. And he is absolutely gutted about that. Storms towards the commentary box. Back to safety. But he isn't going any further on that wagon. He's out of this race. Charles Green still in the driving seat in this one. He's built out a lovely gap over these first couple of laps. It's Dylan Morton on the number 19, who's the closest driver to him, though. And Dalton Hayward. It's been a good start for Dalton Hayward. Where did he start in this race? 9th place is already in P3. Couple of drivers going moves down there into Winger's Dip. Very aggressive in the opening part of this race, but you've got to be. When there's 28 drivers out on the track with you, it's every man and woman for themselves. And that's exactly what we're seeing here, the opening part of the Junior Max A final. 3 drivers trying to go over there into midgets. Somehow they get back into single file before they make the apex. That last lap, though, Spencer Trahorn on the 41, 10th place, set the fastest lap of the race here. So, although there's a bit of gaps forming at the front of the field, still a long time to go in this race. As drivers making contact there down into Haynes Loop. 55 getting shoveled out wide there. That was Charlie Hume. It was Oliver Gussman and Jack Price who were all over the back of everything. I think they both managed to slip through there at Haynes Loop. Gussman getting a little bit pressuring quite substantially there through Haynes Loop, and I think both of them gaining a place. Dalton Hayward, though, got the fastest lap on the last lap of the race. 42.46 for Dalton Hayward. He's charging towards the 2 at the front. As I mentioned, they've all got a nice bit of a gap, though. All of the top 5, really, all sort of on their own for the moment, with a couple of kart lengths in between them. Still 8 minutes to go, though. Of course, we had that slightly truncated Superkart final, 8 minutes in total. This one, 11 minutes plus 1 lap again. So we're already 3 minutes deep into this race. And now we've got the entire Superkart final still to come. Freddie Worlock now is the one that takes the fastest lap. So look at this. Dalton Hayward and Freddie Worlock. And to be fair, Maxim Smith and Noah McNicholas. So 3rd to 6th place. All consistently faster than Charles Green and Dylan Morton in 1st and 2nd place. Now, the problem here for Dalton Hayward is he might catch Dylan Morton relatively soon, but the longer he spends trying to battle past Dylan Morton, the longer time is given to Charles Green to press on at the head of the field. Another fastest lap comes through for Freddie Worlock on the last time around this Forest Edge Kart Club circuit. Oh, we've lost a rear bumper there from someone as they head down into the Haynes Loop. That's going to be a mechanical flag before you can say mechanical flag. Now, who is that? I can't even say. They've had so much contact with someone, I can't even see what number it is on the side. I think it's Harvey Lee Winteridge on the number 11 in 17th place at the moment. And yep, there comes the mechanical flag. Harvey Lee Winteridge straight back to the pit lane with that dangerous hanging bumper there. To the final corner, they come once more. Dalton Hayward still pressing on towards those drivers at the front. It's a 42.07 for Hayward, a 42.06 for Worlock. Those two still the fastest out on circuit, but it's such a little amount every lap. That was about 1/10 of a second on that last lap. They're closing in slowly but surely, but we're just waiting for it to all close up near the end of this race. And it's about 7/10 of a second back from Worlock to Smith, who's now 5th place. In a bit of no man's land is Smith. Then we go back to Noah McNicholas, and he leads the following pack. McNicholas, Mott, Reed, Trahorn, Price, all in a train there down to about 10th place. Dalton Hayward, though, has pretty much closed up that gap now to Dylan Morton. Not close enough to think about a move. And again, reiterate what I was saying earlier, he's got to think about how much time he's losing to the leader. There's a move down the inside. That's Sam Mott through on Noah McNicholas. Great move there from the number... Oh, wait. Sam Mott did go through, but Noah McNicholas re-overtook there. So I was about to say great move from the 18, but no, the 18 re-emerges at Johnny's back ahead once again. So McNicholas versus Mott seems to be a great battle, and now they've got two more drivers involved as well. Diving down the inside, up at the top section of Sector 3. They're going 2 by 2 now. They're losing so much time to the top 5 ahead, but they're in their own battle now. Still headed up by Noah McNicholas as they come around the final corner, but who's now with him? It's the 41 of Spencer Trahorn who's in behind. Look how defensive McNicholas went there into the first corner, but up and under goes Trahorn. Nicely read from Spencer Trahorn. Side by side through Johnny's. There might be a bit of contact on the exit. Somehow there wasn't there. And Danny May Reed goes up and over the curb on the inside, but somehow lands back on all 4 wheels. Somehow doesn't take anyone else out. And somehow they continue on lap number 9 here. But that's it. Game over for all those. Oh, there's someone's off. Someone's car has just said it doesn't want to do any more laps here at Forest Edge, and out they go of the race. That was Noah McNicholas on the number 18, who hasn't made it through the timing beam in Sector 2. So Noah McNicholas from that top 10 battle out of this race. I'm trying to keep a close eye on the drivers at the front of the field. It looks like Dalton Hayward has actually lost a bit of time now to Green and Morton at the front, and Green is now setting personal best lap times of the race, whereas in behind the drivers are now going a little bit slower. And Hayward is now falling into the clutches of Freddie Worlock as they now exit the bus stop chicane. Charles Green still doing a great job at the front of this race. He's not cracking under the pressure at all and is setting still personal best times in this race. He's getting into that rhythm. He's got the positive momentum pushing him on in this race, and he's doing everything he needs to do to take maximum points here from the Junior Rotax A final. Dalton Hayward just looks to be slipping and sliding more than he was earlier on in this race. He's a little bit all over the shop. And Freddie Worlock right in his wheel tracks. We'll see if Worlock's able to find a way through then. Spencer Trahorn, now he's been released by that secondary pack in the bottom end of the top 10. Spencer Trahorn's off. 41.86 on the last lap. Maxim Smith ahead of 41.88 as well. So these two pushing forward to try and catch the drivers here now. Spencer Trahorn has such a huge gap to this gaggle in front though. So we'll see how this plays out. There is Maxime Smith. He's basically on the back of the top 4. But Spencer Trahorn is then a further 2 seconds back from them. So it's going to be a challenge. He's doing what he needs to though. 41.72. New fastest lap of the race from Spencer Trahorn. But 2 seconds to gain. That's going to take, I think, a lot more laps than what he's got left to do it with. 0.7 still the gap between Charles Green and Dylan Morton in this race. Charles Green hasn't really looked under pressure at all. There's a move for third place, though. Laid down the inside. Freddie Worlock's gone for it, and Dalton Hayward's off. Dalton Hayward's off the circuit. He just about collects it together as he heads down into Climber, but through slips Maxime Smith as well. Worlock had to be bold with that overtake. They were very close on pace, but he was just that little bit faster. Now it's up to the stewards as to whether that was a little bit too aggressive from Freddie Worlock. Either way, he's in the lead of the race now. That's a lie. No, he's not. He's in third place now. He's made the move on Dalton Hayward. Dalton's been shuffled to the back of that squabble now in fifth place. And again, that would have been time loss for both Worlock and Hayward there. So again, slipping off the back of Morton, who's still slipping off the back of Charles Green. Some detritus being cleared from the main straight. They continue on to another lap. Less than 2 minutes left to go here in the Junior Max A final. And as again, it starts to simmer at the front of the order. We look back to this gaggle that's just flown through your camera shot. Jack Price in 7th place is heading up quite the sizable battle as they head through Sector 1. Price is in 7th, ahead of Gussman, Mott, Sangera, Reed and Burke. So that's 7th down to 12th place, that battle. I think it's all changed at the front of that battle as well. They're chopping and changing on the exit of the bus stop as well. All 6 line astern there. Drivers off and one spin up, and they do get collected. All of those 6 drivers getting together then from 6th place or 7th place downward. What order they will be in now as they come across the line, I have no idea. Another send down the inside. Late move. And it's the 80 who gets to the front of that train. That's Levi Sangera who suddenly slipped through. Jack Price managed to not be involved in any of that. He's gained a little bit of time to the rest of the drivers in that squabble. 57 has snuck back through then, so Zach Burke through Sector 1 has got 8th place back from Levi Sangera. But it was Danny May Reed, Sam Mott, Chris Hume who all got together, and Oliver Gussman as well, who got together there up at Midget's corner. I think it was lucky. I think it must have been Gussman who got spun around, but then got respun by a driver hitting the front of the car, which was actually quite lucky for him at the end there. 2nd and 3rd, close as ever now. Worlock on the back of Morton. This, of course, will get you more points, but it's going to get you a slightly bigger trophy as well if Worlock's able to get past Morton for 2nd place. Maxime Smith, though, don't count him out in 3rd. He's about 8-9 tenths of a second off of that battle for 2nd. If that kicks off, Maxime could be right there. Maxime just got the fastest lap of the race on the last lap, a 41.68. Timer has hit 0. We're about to go on to the final lap of the day here for round 4 of the Forest Edge Kart Cup in 2024. 2nd place has already changed though. Freddie Worlock's already got the move done on Dylan Morton. Relegates him to 3rd as we head on to the last lap and look at the defensive moves into Haynes Loop then. Big bit of defensive move from Worlock. He knows he's not going to catch first, but he's lost 2nd place. Morton gets him back again on the exit. So he went too defensive on the entrance to the corner there, did Worlock. Didn't get a good enough speed off of the exit. Morton slides back through into 2nd place. There's no way any of them are catching Charles Green. He has checked out at the end of this race as they all now battle for 2nd place. It's Worlock versus Morton versus Smith now. Smith's getting involved in this. But as they come around the last couple of corners, what a final then. From the 77 of Charles Green, he takes the win in the Junior Rotax A final. Who gets 2nd place? It's the number 19 of Dylan Morton. He does keep it round the last part of that last lap. And Freddie Worlock, after some fantastic pace through that race, has to settle for 3rd place. But even more sadly, it's for Maxime Smith. Fastest lap of the race at 41.68. The only driver in the 41.6s, I tell a lie. So was Spencer Trahorn in 6th place. But Maxime was looking like he could grab a podium spot right at the dying moments there. But sadly, it just wasn't meant to be. Dalton Hayward rounded up the top 5 there. Great battling in that sort of pack for 2nd place there. Dalton Hayward losing out, getting shuffled out wide onto the grass on the exit, kicking up the dust, somehow holding it and not spinning. So fair play to Dalton Hayward there, getting a top 5 finish in the end. Rest of the top 10 was Spencer Trahorn, Jack Price, Sam Mott, Charlie Hume and Danny May Reed. And after that was Levi Sangera, Oliver Gussman, Zach Burke, Jamie Rowe, Travis Rose, Luca Cook, your top-rated novice there in 16th place, with Alexander Culantonio, Chase Rainsbury, Lewis Joyner and Madison Chappell, your top 10. And then the last of the finishers were Tyler Rackman, Jesse Whitmore, Jensen Cox and Adrijan Kalemi. 24 finishes out of the 28 that started. Sadly, on my timing screen, I can see we lost Noah McNicholas and Harvey Lee Wintridge. And of course, Leo Basterfield as well, out on that first lap of the race, batting for the lead and getting spun round at the final corner. Well, that brings round 4 of the Forest Edge Kart Club to a close. And what a day of racing it was. Apologies for the first half of the afternoon, calling the Southern champions incorrectly. It's not whoever wins the final, it's whoever has the least amount of points by the end of the day. Now, there were a few drivers across a couple of classes that had absolutely 0 points by the end of the day there. So I think we can assume that they were Southern champions. But otherwise, if you want to double check and find out who that is, if you're at the circuit, make sure you come to the podium presentation, where the top 3 of the round will be given their trophies. The Southern champion will be crowned, and also the raffle will be announced, and all of the winners of the raffle will get their prizes as well. So thank you to all the sponsors that sponsored that raffle. Thank you to all the drivers, team members, friends and family, parents and whatnot who have made it here to Forest Edge for round number 4. I hope you've had a fantastic day. I've had such fun. It's been brilliant. Thanks again to everyone at Forest Edge, all of the committee, for having me back again to shout about your fantastic racing here at the Forest Edge Kart Club. My name's been John Ratcliff. If you want to drop me a follow, if you enjoyed the commentary today, it's at Ratters Media on TikTok and Instagram. At Ratters Media on Instagram. That's where most of my stuff goes. So go and give me a follow in there. Thank you very much to all of the team here at Ryan House, not only the committee for being silly enough to have me back, but also to all of the staff here that do a fantastic job. All of the scrutineers, thanks guys, all of the scrutineers, all of the people in timekeeping who've just said a lovely goodbye to me, all of the marshals around the circuit, and of course all the people who have to sort out the judicials as well, which, to be fair, I didn't see a huge amount of penalties today, so hopefully they've had a more relaxed time sorting the judicials. It's been a great day. Lovely sunny day. Beautiful day for a bit of racing. Sadly, I've been just stuck inside all day, but I don't mind. I've been shouting about racing, and that's my favourite thing to do. I hope you enjoyed your day at the circuit. If you've not been at the circuit, I hope you enjoyed this coverage here of round number 4 of the Forest Edge Kart Club here from Winchester down on the south coast. Make sure you drop a subscribe on the Forest Edge YouTube channel so that you don't miss any future streams or any future rounds of this season here in 2024. If you did enjoy it, as I say, drop a subscribe, drop me a follow at Ratters Media. We'll see you all very, very soon for round number 5 of the Forest Edge Kart Club next month. I hope you all have a lovely evening, a lovely rest of your weekend, and we'll see you soon.